Here we go.
In 5, 4, 3.
Call to me, lands far away.
Elves have forests to protect.
We need to build a wall.
Dwarfs their mines. Men their fields of grain. But we Harfoots have each other.
For I must now wander this wandering day.
We're safe.
You have fought long enough, Galadriel.
No.
Put up your sword.
The enemy is still out there. The question now is where?
It is over.
Nothing is over! Nothing! You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them!
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Darkness will march over the face of the earth. It will be the end, not just of our people, but all peoples.
Everyone! I am sorry, but their time has come.
The past is with us all. The past is dead.
We either move forward or we die with it.
This could be the beginning of a new era.
Away I must wander this wandering day.
To him finally being lionized in the prime and his prime. Fuck.
Do it!
Shit.
Just do it! Don't let your dreams change. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
Luke went from being... Oh, no. Welcome, Slayer Nation. I have some great news for you today. I hope you're all doing great. Nope, that didn't work. One more.
You have failed me for the last time.
Welcome, Slayer Nation. I hope...
If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up.
That is eating away at what you love in order for it to shine. And one man's vision is... Sometimes you don't have to make things better for them to be great again. You merely have to Okay. Hollywood continues to slow boil the culture and crazy. Well, right now, Spider-Man actor Andrew Garfield has stepped up and he's fighting motherfucker.
I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
And unbearded dwarves, but Prime didn't stop there. They stapled in intersectionality, individuality, biddigadig-bee, biddigadig-boo.
So it begins.
At my signal, unleash hell.
the Giant Slayer.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Slayer Unchained. I'm your host, George Molo, and it's December 11th, 2024 in the year of our Lord. How are you doing today, everybody? It's kind of cold in Texas, which is a good thing, you know, after all the heat. The only thing, a problem about Texas, you know, if we had perfect weather, it would be paradise with everything else that we have in the Lone Star State. Because, you know, you can have 1 hour where it's like, you know, 38 to 45 degrees. And you know, you get dressed for winter, and then the next minute, you know, it's summer again. It's hitting that 85. And you're like, oh my God, which is it? It's like Texas is bipolar. You want me to be hot? You want me to be cold? What do you want, Mother Nature? But who is here? We got Cal the 90, Christian Childers. How you doing, my friends? Good to see you. Nick the Greek, Yasu, Zephric 9, Sassy. Always a bright light in the darkness. We also got Eric K, the king of the mods, joins us, and he comes in rolling out George for $2. Eric, how you doing? We also have Olaf, Lord Thaw. Incredible people, great mods. And I saw Syndic. I saw my brother from another mother here. Syndic is here. He's like, subscribe, which is a good thing. Also, hit the like button. Doesn't cost you anything. It's just little finger. Just, you know, click it. It helps us with the algorithm. It means that YouTube says, hey, look at all the people who love the show. Who else? We got War Monkey. What a name. You know, War Monkey. I could just see the image of that. It's like this huge monkey, you know, battle armor, spikes, just giving his war face. Karen Thorgren. All right. So let's get started. Let me bring out the king of cutting commentary himself, Verbal Riot. How you doing, Verbal?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good.
Lot to talk about today.
Oh, Stu, it's a ton to talk about, man. There's some crazy stuff going on right now.
It is. And you know what just pissed me off? I was late because the new dummy battery arrived for the camera. So that shit the bed. I loaded it. It took me time. Get it in the camera, reset the camera, and waiting for beautiful results. And what happens? The camera goes, no, psych. Yeah,
was it because of the battery or just the camera's on?
I thought the battery was overheating, and I was advised also, which was great advice, because I tried everything else. So I'm gonna have to just probably switch to new camera. Anyway,
I mean, it might be the easier choice, man. And honestly, cameras are pretty cheap these days. So I mean, why not? I'm looking to upgrade mine pretty soon. Yeah,
I'm gonna do the same thing. But it's been crazy. I mean, we have everything from Hollywood losing their minds. Oh God, when we get into this, there are a lot of trailers that came out over the last few days. And some of them are good, some of them are bad, some series that you really want to see, some movies that you really want to see, and other shows you're like, why do they waste money? But you can tell that Hollywood is lost, not only with Trump's election, but they've just, you know, lost the plot, plumb off the bubble.
By the way, years ago, but go on.
I know years ago, but at least when they were crazy and they had fun. See, crazy and fun went well together. And so they, you know, knew how to tell a good story. Even when it was bad, it was so bad that we'd all laugh at it. But this week, you had Games Radar put out a list of the top 24 shows of the year. And we're going to get to that in a second. But before we do, you know, I talk about this every week. Slayer Nation, Slayer Unchained. I'm irritated beyond belief at what's going on in North Carolina. The mainstream media refuses, just does not care about what's going on in society today with everyday Americans. And that burns me up. It's like when you see these images, you should burn them into your eyes, carve them into your heart, because this should not happen in America. So you got this gentleman, Matt Van Sol. He has been covering it. I'm actually thinking, Verbal, of going to North Carolina. I haven't wanted to get in the way, but I've wanted to get there, get on the ground, to be able to report, to show people. If I could help in some way, you know, I would like to. But I
mean, you know what, man? If nothing else, you should probably do it just to show what's going on, man. I mean, here's the thing. There's never enough eyes on something like that. So if you feel the need to do it, you should do it.
I think I'm going to do that but Matt Van Sol has been covering it, right? So look, while the government today made another announcement, you know, our favorite girl, Karine Jean-Pierre, made an announcement.
Oh, you mean the angry Muppet?
Angry Muppet. That's a good one. The Angry Muppet, the Rainbow Angry Muppet made a pronouncement from the Biden White House regime about what we're going to do with your tax dollars. We had Matt Van Sol giving us the lowdown of how it looks in North Carolina.
Very normal to see now. It's just like trash. Look at all this. There's like you can't even see it, but there's like a road that runs through here. I drive my kids to school just down that road every morning. That's why I'm here, actually. And I was like, this is insane that they haven't even touched this yet. It's like fridges. Look at that. Oven. I mean, this is just horrific. Like, but the problem is it's not even that uncommon. You kind of just see this stuff everywhere. It's like, I'm not like cherry picking the worst of it. You know, you can go back and look at any of the videos. Like, this is just kind of what it looks like now. And it's awful. I mean, it looks so bad. And, you know, right over here, oh, this is a good one. So right there, that's White Duck, or used to be White Duck Taco. One of my favorite places. Erin, my wife, and I used to go there on dates all the time. It's totally, totally gone. Gosh.
I mean, you could see the level of destruction we're talking about. This is no joke. But then you have the FEMA. What is FEMA talking about, Verbal? I mean, you think they would get the message, but obviously they don't give a damn that Trump won the election, that the public basically put him on notice. Instead,
there's no secret now, man. There's no secret that FEMA is corrupt. It's always been corrupt. It's another government agency, man, that honestly, it needs the Doge. You know, it needs someone to go in there and just wreck shop, either shut it down completely or fire everybody and hire new people.
Hey, man, it needs the Doge, you know? It needs that good stiff arm. You got FEMA.
And it's not the only one, but honestly, in situations like this, FEMA needs to go.
It does need to go, because there should be nothing should matter when it comes to devastation like this. It doesn't matter, you know, what kind of your red state, blue state, none of that. American citizens.
Dude, I fear the day, man, that California finally has that big quake, because I think we're screwed. I think we have no money because of what Gavin Newsom has done to our economy, and there's no way in hell FEMA is going to help us over here. I mean, hell, we're seeing it right now with the wildfires, right? Houses are burning, people are losing their homes. We will probably hear from FEMA in March.
I want to ask you about that in a minute, about the wildfires. I really, because I always like, wait a minute. I see people, they continuously build further and further out, further into the forest. And the fires appear, I'm not saying they do, but they appear to me to happen in almost the similar places every year. Now, I know part of that is because the whole DEI, ESG, the whole woke agenda, they don't want to do controlled burns. At least that's what it used to be.
Right.
Biden didn't believe in them. But why do people keep moving into those areas? It's like, this is a bad area.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the running joke here in California, man. It's always, you know, the Malibu Hills. It's always, you know, somewhere in the mountains somewhere. And, you know, this is what people do when they have money, right? They want to get away from the commoners, you know, get away from the regular folk and live up in the hills, right? But this is the price they pay every single time they do this. Now, with that said, do they deserve their homes to be burned down?
No, not at all. No.
But you would think they would learn their lesson, right? Here's the thing. If I had a house that burned down because I lived in a dumbass area, guess what? I'm not going to live in that dumbass area anymore. I'm going to move somewhere else.
Yeah. No, I don't wish that. Like I said, I don't care what your political beliefs are, what your ideology is. That shouldn't happen to anyone. I don't wish that on anybody.
Sure, and of course not. But you know, at the same time,
it never made sense. It's just never made sense to me. I'll give you an example. We have an area here in Houston called Braeswood Bayou, right? Every hurricane, every single hurricane, it floods this one area, right? And it goes up to their homes. First story, completely flooded. So last time we had a hurricane, it was Harvey.
Sure.
Right? It flooded the entire first floor. It almost went up to the second floor. Same spot. And so then they were like, okay, this time we're going to put all our homes higher. So people just built them higher. Next hurricane, it flooded again. I'm like, look, just pave that motherfucker. Just pave that over. It's like, because it's every single time. And I understand the sentimental attachment to it, but move.
Now, I can understand, like, you know, if you're poor, you know, low income, and that's just where the housing is, and you can't afford to like move to a better area. That kind of stuff, I completely get. I understand.
This is a wealthy area.
But we're talking about wealthy people here. We're talking
Yeah.
about people with money who continue to keep building in these crazy ass places where there's wildfires all the time.
Yeah, it's crazy. The Braziers, I mean, it's not the richest area, but it's, I would say, middle class, upper middle class, a little bit, not quite above that, but basically, you're talking about homes like 600,000-700,000, $1 million, $1.5 million. I mean, they're doing well, and this is
for Texas, especially, that's up there, man. Like,
that is up there, and it's just it keeps getting flooded. Anyway, so you got FEMA. This is what FEMA thought would be a good discussion.
Canvassing efforts confirmed that there were no lightweight tents that were being used. We do have some tents that are canvas tents that have a heating source in them and are designed for cold weather that people are utilizing in some of these areas and utilizing that to.
Okay, get off the screen, dumbass. Do you get that? He's talking about, because you have so many people now living in tents. They're debating. Well, it's not about canvas. You know, people are saying we have given them tarp. No, we have canvas tents there. It's like, dude, you shouldn't be talking about tents in the middle of winter.
In winter, that's insane. Like, and what's funny is I think he really believes like there's nothing wrong with it.
I guess that, or he's just window liquor on the short bus. What's really good to see, though, I'm going to tell you, is the fact that you have so many people have stepped up. I mean, they have just said, you know, we have to help our own. And you have Operation Hilo is doing exactly that.
That are trying to help out right now to ease that burden. Temporary housing solutions, they're being provided all across some of those hardest hit areas that we have taken to you in Western North Carolina. Let's bring in Fox News multimedia reporter Chelsea Tor. She's at one of those sites right now in Burnsville, North Carolina. It's about 30.
I know that's low hanging fruit, but what the hell is it with the white tennis shoes? It's like, you're a reporter, dude. It's like he's wearing a blue suit with white tennis shoes. Can he just say, hey, I am a hungry ego alert. Please look at me. I know it's nothing to do with it. It just drives me crazy.
No, he's trying to be hip and current.
Is that what it is? Hip and current?
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's like, hey, we're not a stuffy news network. Look at us. We wear tennis shoes. It's so ridiculous.
It is.
Miles to the northeast of Asheville. Chelsea, you're seeing firsthand these campers and what that's like. What is it like for you when you witness those families finally have a place that they could call kind of home after trying to just overcome everything that's happened over the last several months?
I guess at this point, Steve, it's almost like these people are finally getting the help that they deserve. One couple today, they're in their 70s and they received a camper. And the woman talked to me on the phone about what her home was like before Helene came through. She said it was so beautiful out here in the Burnsville area. It was like out of a movie. And then Helene came through, washed out her yard, flooded her home, and now she's been staying with family in Tennessee because she didn't really know exactly what to do next. But I talked to her on the phone when she received that camper and was told she could come back home. And she told me that it's a humbling experience to be able to come back to her property with a new roof over her head.
I was a nurse for 40 years. I was used to giving help, not asking for it. To have you put your name on a list and you're told you're 580 or something. Certainly that can't last. They did. They came.
The camper was donated by the nonprofit Operation Hilo, an organization created after Helene, helping people displaced by the storm. The group used donations to buy RVs. Then in the Burnsville area, families are vetted through the volunteer fire department. Operation Hilo is on their way to gifting a camper to over 160 families who otherwise would have been forced to stay in tents.
Come on, that right there, you're having a nonprofit that was put together to help people is doing more good than the government. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's just that, and then you had Karine Jean-Pierre, as Verbal put it, the Muppet, announced that Biden will be loaning American tax dollars will be loaning $50 billion to Ukraine. A loan that they're going to pay back someday, possibly.
50, wow.
Because they can't, because the Speaker of the House said, we're not giving any more money, so Biden's like, well, we can loan them the money. Yeah, they'll give us something for it.
You know, it's really weird to me, man, that, you know, as someone who used to be a Democrat, as someone who used to be, you know, a liberal for the most part, you know, even with that back in the day, even being a liberal back in the day, there was still a sense of, you know, country first. Maybe I don't like the way the Republicans are running the country, but at the same time, this is still my country, right? Even when you're just, even back, no matter how crazy liberal you were back in the day, there was that sense of, you know, of pride, right? That, hey, you know what? I'm an American and I don't like the way America's being ran, but at the end of the day, I still love my country. There is no sense of that in the Democrats, like, probably for the past 20 years.
I would agree.
There's not been a sense of I love this country at
more
all.
Than my anger, more than my ideology, more than my what separates.
I mean, it's not even just that, man. I just think they really hate this country, man. Like at the end of the day, you know, it's like, and yeah, you have these champagne socialists who don't mind taking American money, you know, but are the mouthpieces of these for these people, right? Because it's so hip. It's so cool to trash America, right? So it's just weird for me to see our government blatantly telling us how they don't give a shit about us. Like blatantly, like it's not even like they're hiding it anymore. Like they're blatantly saying, fuck you.
Exactly.
You know, we care more about everyone else. Everyone else.
Yeah, you don't matter at all
in this country.
Yeah, you don't matter at all. And you can see that in California every single day with
dude, that's what we can see it in America, man. Like it's just like everywhere, anywhere where, you know, needs need to be met for this country, that's where you see it.
Absolutely. I mean, again, think of what would have happened if Cackles would have gotten in. But you know what they would say? It's like she would California, all of America. Everybody would have been there.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Know? And honestly, I really believe that the best thing about her not winning, the best thing isn't even about her. I think the best thing about her not winning is the fact that now we could finally stop talking about Gavin Newsom making his big run. Because I think her losing took all the steam out of psycho Patrick Bateman running for president in 2028.
Yeah, let's hope that he got sidelined and gets shelved. We got Eric K has a couple of things to say about North Carolina. Eric K for $2. North Carolina is a land grab, says by people who live in North Carolina. You know, I've seen a lot of people been saying that they're not going in to help because of mineral rights. Like there's certain things that they want to mine from the ground. I haven't looked into it, but thank you, Eric K, for that. Then we got Nick LeGreek for $5. I'm with you, George. I'm from North Carolina mountains and still have family and friends living there. The lack of attention on this tragedy eats me up. It eats me up too, because think about it right now. Well, you know it. This didn't happen last year. Today, this very second, people are suffering in our country. That should not happen anywhere, but never in the United States of America.
And not to mention, we are in the beginning stages of winter, man. Like we have a long road to go. And you're telling me these people are going to be living in tents in North Carolina in the dead of winter?
Yeah, it makes you want to pop a vessel. You know, it's not the way we were set up. Hopefully, between Operation Hilo, it's going to help people, and there are other nonprofits and money that have been raised that they will be able to help tide them over till January 20th when Trump, because he said J.D. Vance has focused on how they need to deal with that day one. I mean, there's so many things to deal with on the 20th. It's kind of like, let's get the inauguration out of the way, forget the balls, just get to the White House and start working. Plus, we got getting gifted 5 George the Giant Slayer memberships. Way to go, my friend. Way to go. Thank you. Everybody go saying giggity. We keep growing. Love to see it. Beautiful. And then we have Eric K back for $2. Verbal. The Batman still sucks. Unwatchable shit.
Look, man, I'm not standing 10 toes down on the Batman. I thought it was a decent film. You know, obviously not the greatest Batman film in the world. I mean, I still hold that The Dark Knight is the best Batman film ever made. And people might argue, but I don't care. It just is. It's the best interpretation of the Joker we ever got on screen. So, but
I agree.
But yeah, you know, the Batman it's a divisive movie. amongst Batman fans. I get that.
But the Penguin, number one in our hearts.
Come on, man. We wouldn't have the Penguin if it wasn't for the Batman.
So yeah, you gotta look at it like a silver lining. I mean, there are, sometimes you get lemons, you make lemonade.
Yeah, that movie that everyone is iffy about gave us one of the best series of the past 2 years. 3 years, maybe.
I would agree. Shogun. I would put Shogun there too. Shogun's
really up there, definitely. Yeah.
Really good. And Tulsa King. But yeah, definitely the Penguin. Beautiful. And Mel M joined us. She became a YouTube member. Mel, it's for you. Thank you, Mel. Way to go. I can't wait to see you all on the next member stream this Saturday. We're going to be getting together. We're all going to have a bunch of fun, hang out, talk, share what's on your mind. And don't forget to hit the like button. It doesn't cost anything. It's just really easy. Just click it. But talking about deep debates, I found this old video of Bruce Willis trying to set the record straight.
To settle something once and for all. Now, please listen very carefully. Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
I disagree.
It's a goddamn Bruce Willis movie. So a yippee-ki-yay to all of you motherfuckers. Good night.
I miss Bruce Willis. I hope he's doing better.
Yeah, man, you hate to see it, man, but age is catches up with all of us, man. So
let's just say it. Age is a motherfucker.
Yeah,
I mean, it is the one. It is the one thing that tells you think you're strong. You think you got it made in the shade. Let me show you something. Bucko.
It's the one thing we can't fight. It's the one thing we can't cure. It's inevitable.
It is. This wasn't inevitable, and I didn't see it coming. Okay, so Games Radar. I don't know if they thought it was April Fool's. Their calendars were off. But they put out, what they consider to be the 25 best shows of 2024. And I just can't wait to hear what Verbal thinks about it. And the chat. Got to hear your reactions. So let's start it off.
I am morbidly curious.
You have to find out what number one is? Oh, wait a minute. Wait for that. Number 25 is Invincible Season Part 2. What say you?
Okay. I mean, it was good. It was damn good.
Yeah, reasonable.
It's reasonable. Yeah, that's fair.
I give it. House of the Dragon comes in at number 24.
I think that's way too high up on the list, man. It should be way lower. It should be at least number 5 or 6. But
for season 2, season 1 was phenomenal, but season 2, a lot
that's
of it.
Fair. That's fair. I had some issues with it, but overall, I still liked it. But I still feel like that's pretty high on that list.
Really? With all the didn't we have 4 episodes where it was? Okay, somebody's having a dream. Episode 2, somebody's having a dream. Episode 3, somebody's having a dream of a dream of a dream in a dream. Episode 4, the dream continues. Episode 5, the dream is over.
But we got some dragon fights in this in this season.
But I think if you edited, if Sindek would edit all of season 2, we would have 15 minutes. It would be awesome. Awesome 15 minutes. Oh, and plus someone became a lesbian or bisexual. And the sets are great. I mean, I loved House of the Dragon season 1.
I did too. Season 2 definitely fell a little bit from where season 1 was. And I'm not sure why. Maybe writer strike stuff. I don't know. But overall, I still enjoyed it, I could say.
You did? Even though it ended on that cliffhanger. It's I thought this episode, it's all coming together. This is what we've waited. And it's no.
Well, you know what? I'm reserving judgment till the 3rd season because if they could nail the 3rd season,
everybody will forget.
Yeah,
everybody will forget. So we go to number 23, The Acolyte, the Coven of Lesbian Space Witches.
Okay. Now, yeah, we jumped the shark. Now let's. This is some bullshit here.
I was I had to wait to see what you said. I was no way.
Nah, I can't take this list serious at all, man.
But let's see what it says about it. Star Wars small screen efforts have been dynamic and exciting additions to the legendary saga, and The Acolyte is no different.
Oh no. Just on that line alone. No, come on, man.
At its heart, though, The Acolyte is a story about two sisters torn apart by the machinations of the Jedi, with a soulful performance from Lee Jung-jae and Amanda Stenberg, giving an expert turn in dual roles.
Soulful performance, no pun intended, right? Like, nah, this is some hack. This is some hack shit right here, man.
Number 22, Only Murders in the Building. I haven't watched it.
I've heard nothing but good things. Nothing but good things. I know Script Doctor loves this show.
Okay, well, Script likes them. I have to check it out then. Yeah, I see D What is like, he's got the emoji with the hand and he's like, oh my God. Yeah, I know what you mean, D What. And we have number 21, The Boys, season 4. I stopped at season 3.
You know, no. This was a rough season. This was a rough season. I can't give him this.
All right. But isn't this the one where someone told me it went really woke?
Yeah, this was the TDS season.
Gotcha.
Completely. Eric Kripke even, made some personal comments in the media about, like, he wants people to know fully, fully where he stands, and that he hates Trump. He hates the people who vote for Trump. And it showed throughout the whole season. So,
gotcha. Well, what does it say? This year we saw Prime Video's diabolical show, The Boys, return for round 4, marking its bloodiest and most politically charged season yet, welcoming back Billy the Butcher and his boys, as well as Homelander and what was left of the 7. Eric Kripke's The Boys season 4 continues the two leaders' ongoing battle, but with Victoria Newman gunning for the Oval Office and more soups adding to Vought's fighting power, we saw the tensest contention. Okay, that's all crap. Let's get down to the meat and bones of it. What was the penultimate season lacks in conclusion? It makes up for with a stack of sex dungeons, killer chickens, shredded soups, and a sexually charged sauna scene.
Okay, so by sex dungeons, what they mean is several times within the show, they have gone out of their way to emasculate one of the main characters. And so, they had him in a sex dungeon doing some awful shit. And they made at least 2 or 3 of the likable characters very unlikable this season. They did everything wrong, man. Like, it was, and even if you took the woke stuff out of it, it just wasn't a good season.
Okay. Well, we got number 20, Batman, J.J. Abrams, Cape Crusader.
Never watched it. Never saw it.
Yeah. No, it shouldn't even be on the list. Again, like The Acolyte. So, they're pulling your leg, or they thought it was April Fool's because they had a few drinks. It's just.
Wait, is this the one with the female penguin?
Yeah, this is the one with the female penguin, that whole, and then you had Harley Quinn and the way that they treated her. Batman pretty much was in it for 2 episodes, besides a cameo in his own show for the rest of it. But I'm curious. I like to see the write-ups, like what they actually think about him.
I can tell you right now what happens, man. Someone writes a really good script.
Yeah.
And what happens is they bring in their DEI consultants, their woke consultants, to basically tell the writer who wrote the good stuff that he needs to change everything and make it more inclusive, add random characters for no reason, turn this character gay or trans for no reason, blah, 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 blah.
And why don't they have the balls to step up and say, no, my name is going to go on
now, but back when, Kamala and Joe were running things, man, and woke was on their side, you can tell these studios nothing.
Okay. You think, I always go back to character. Someone at some point has to step up and say, my name's going on this, and this is going to be for all time because the internet's forever. Streaming is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And people are going to watch that. It's like, this may have worked for a few years in woke Hollywood, but it didn't build a foundation anywhere else.
Oh, no, there are those people. The problem is they get fired very quickly. Very quickly and very quietly, right? And because you have to sign an NDA,
right.
You're probably not going to hear from those people who got fired for that reason.
God bless Gina Carano for standing tall. That's why I love her. That's why I love her. So we move on. 19, The Rivals. Haven't watched it.
Haven't seen it.
Don't know anything about it. Let's see what it says. An 80s set adaptation of Jilly Cooper's Romp Fest Rivals, starring David Tennant, Aidan Turner, and Danny Dyer.
Well, David Tennant is a deterrent for me now. So
he used to not be. He was one of my favorite Who's. One of them, not
dude. Yeah, until he kissed the ring.
Kissed the ring. He kissed the. He kissed a ring. All right, it just wasn't on a finger. That guy went down the rabbit hole and found the ring. It's just the wrong color. Wrong. It wasn't gold and shiny. It was anyway. Dead Boys Detectives come in at number 18. Never heard of it either.
Never heard of it.
Anybody ever hear of Dead Boys? It's like some of these shows, I'm like, what? It says Netflix giveth and taketh away. Dead Boy Detectives is a delightfully queer and deeply moving exploration of law.
That's why.
Okay.
That's why it's on the list.
Okay. So that's just, it says that word and all of a sudden it's like, bop, oh yeah, I got to find a spot for it.
Yeah.
Then we go to number 17, Delicious in Dungeon. Never heard
I haven't
of it
seen this one either.
What the hell?
Looks like an anime of some kind, but
and I like anime, but this is by Yoshiro Miyajima. Delicious in Dungeon arrived out of nowhere in the first week of 2024 and dished up a treat for anime fans. Based on Ryoko Kui's manga, Delicious in Dungeon takes a traditional group of D&D style adventure. Oh, we're going to talk about D&D in a little bit too. Mages, warriors, and lockpicks alike, and tasks them with rescuing one of their party from the belly of a red dragon. Yet, this isn't a simple fight through dungeons filled with skeletons and scuttling creatures. Instead, Delicious in Dungeon twists the typical formula by quite literally making a meal out of the group's biggest foes. Okay, what the hell is the show about?
Yeah,
person does not know how to write.
You said a bunch of words, and I have no idea what any of that stuff meant.
Neither do I. I'm like, where the hell is the story? All I hear is Delicious in Dungeon. I think this person was hungry for word salad. It's like mage, warrior, D&D. You get it? That's what they're saying. Netflix. Okay. 16. Doctor Who.
Absolutely not. Okay. We have the Acolyte and Doctor Who in the same. Come on, man.
Let's see if the writer improves.
I think the writer's trolling, honestly, at this point. Like he's trolling.
That's what I thought. That's why I was waiting here. I thought there's a possibility. I woke when I read this, when it hit my inbox. I checked the date. I'm like, I know I didn't do like a Rip Van Winkle and sleep till April. With this show being on shaky ground over the past few years, yeah, that's one way to put it. Doctor Who desperately needed some life. Desperately needed new life injected into it. Enter actor Naguri Gatwa.
Wait. But what they forgot to mention was on shaky ground because of Jodie Whittaker.
Yep.
Right? They did. See how they failed to mention that part?
Yes, sir. They didn't say it. Again, this writer does not know how to write. Hey, how the fuck does he get a job? Pardon my language, audience. I love you. I shouldn't curse. It just gotta, sometimes you can't help yourself. Let's see. Standout episodes this season include The Haunting Horror, 73 Yards, writer Stephen Moffat's tense drama, Boom, and The Romantic Rogue, which had us all falling in love with Mindhunter, starred Jonathan Groff's. Okay, again, not saying anything. 15, Agatha All Along.
Yeah, this is a troll.
It has to be.
This is a troll.
Maybe it was because she flashed her butt in the first episode and the person was happy. I don't know.
Okay, I saw every episode. And
okay, tell us about it.
And though it wasn't the worst show on Disney Plus or from the MCU, it wasn't the worst. Definitely wasn't worse than Echo, for sure. And honestly, I would even say fairly watchable. But that's the best I can give it, is that it's fairly watchable. And it's fairly watchable purely because of Katherine Hahn.
Wow.
Because
she was that good, huh?
Well, she's always good. That's the thing. It's like she can make shit work. You know what I mean? Even if it's like the worst shit in the world, she can kind of make it work. With that said, not a good show. Wouldn't recommend it, but it is watchable. Like you could watch it and
it's not a dumpster fire.
Right, like you could watch it and then probably forget about it, but as you're watching it at the time, it's fine, especially during the time it came out. It came out during Halloween, witchy season. So thematically, it all kind of worked.
Good.
But
that's good to know.
With that said, should it be on the list of best shows, the top 25 of best shows of this year? No.
Okay. I like that. See, objective, fair, unbiased. It tells you straightforward. 14 Masters of the Air. I think that should have been higher up on the list. I enjoyed the hell out of that.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Yeah, Band of Brothers. This was how you had Band of Brothers, and then you had Pacific. Yeah, this is the third one, Masters of the Air. Really well done. Really, and I was quite surprised that it didn't get more discussion on channels, not even by the media. And it's a masterful piece of work. If you've ever seen Band of Brothers, it continues. It's beautiful.
Oh, okay.
It's about the pilots working with the RAF and fighting the war, the air combat. It's beautifully well done. Beautifully well done. Let's see, number 13, The Bear, season 3.
Okay.
I saw season 1. I didn't see season 2. I enjoyed season 1. I just didn't continue it. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I saw season 2. It was okay. I kind of fell off towards the end of season 2, and not because it was bad. I just had other things going on, and for some reason, it just it's one of those shows where it's like I feel like I could leave it and then just come back to it and pick right up, and I just haven't done that yet. But it's a good show. I mean,
okay. Like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed season 1. I just never picked it back. I think you put it perfectly. To me, when a show with time being limited, we stream, we make videos, and then the rest of life, it's like if it doesn't like grab me right here in the gut and the heart, I'm not going to dedicate the time. It's like I'll get back to it at some point.
Right.
And let's see. Supercell for number 12. Have no idea what the hell that is.
I heard some actually decent things about this show.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard that it's actually a pretty good watch.
Yeah, Toxic, I agree. Sugar, I enjoyed it. I watched it. He was brilliant. Supercell, what does it say? Okay. Over the past years, there's been much discussion about superhero fatigue, the idea that audiences are getting bored of constantly seeing superpowered beings on their screens. British writer-director Rapman was having none of that, though, bringing us a new take on the superhero genre with Netflix drama Supercell. Set in South London, the series follows 5 seemingly ordinary black people as they unexpectedly develop superpowers overnight. Why them? What is happening? Who is the mysterious organization now pursuing them? Well, that's interesting. See, this guy who wrote this did not write that delicious dragon crap. It's just straight to the point. Oh, no, this is not possible. 11 is Penguin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No way. It should be number 1.
Because anything under it now, it's going to be some bullshit. Anything under this.
No way. Yeah, I agree. Well, let's see if we get the crazy writer who doesn't know how, his ABCs, or we get someone half decent. The Penguin may be a Batman spinoff, but it doesn't feel like your friendly neighborhood superhero. There are no heroes in this version of Gotham, for one thing. Beneath the prosthetics and fat suit, Colin Farrell's on top form as a wannabe mob boss, Oz Cobb masterminding a route to the top of Gotham's criminal underworld. Christine Milioti is the show's standout, though. As crime, well, I thought her and Farrell were standout. I thought everybody was damn good, to be blunt, but yeah, I agree. Christine Milioti was awesome. Okay, 10 X-Men 97.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay with that because that was surprisingly good.
Surprisingly, I apologized to Bo DeMille, and I never apologized, but I was like, I had to. When we did one of our Slayer Nation shows, I was like, because I railed on it after watching a couple of his interviews. I was like,
yes, so did I. And I was expecting nothing but the worst, man. And then you're hearing all this other stuff about how there's going to be all these, gay characters. And it wasn't like that at all, man. And it kind of made me wonder, like, who's writing up this stuff, right? Like, it's almost like they're trying to sabotage the show before it even comes out. Exactly. But even just from a comic book standpoint, man, like, I felt like they held so true to the X-Men in this show that it should have gotten even more credit than it's gotten.
I agree, and he should be back. I mean, I know he finished season 2 and they got rid of him, but they should have left him in charge. There's not one. I mean, he actually fits all their DEI boxes. So to fire him,
I think, dude, honestly, I think the only reason he got fired, and for, especially like you said, for a guy who checks every single box, he probably wanted to stay true, and they wanted to add in a bunch of shit that he didn't want to add. I feel like it's a Henry Cavill situation, right? With The Witcher, where Henry Cavill wanted to stay true to The Witcher, to the lore, and you had all these assholes, who were, getting on his ass because they wanted to make it the show they wanted to make it, and inclusive and all this other shit.
Right. Well, real quick, hold on. Where did I have that? Because you just said Henry Cavill. I want to bring this up before I forget. You said Henry Cavill, and I saw this on Drinkers the other day. He put up a post. Where did it go? Where did it go? Here it is. Here it is. We'll pause this one for a second to show you this. Because I didn't hear about this. I was wondering if you've heard anything. Drinker, he wrote, obviously, The Emperor Protect the Show. Warhammer 40K live action series is officially moving forward at Prime Video. Henry Cavill will star and executive produce. That's good news. If he's the executive producer, that means he has control, correct?
That is very good news, and honestly shocking news, because it's very hard to get control when you're dealing with Amazon, man. To do the show that you want to do, you know what I mean? It's because that you talk about being ran by committee, like that's what Amazon is. So the fact that they gave him that, man, maybe they do have a few smart executives who work at Amazon, you know.
Well, it's Cavill though. His star power, doesn't that guarantee him?
Oh no, they hate the Henry Cavill has been so mistreated in Hollywood, man. Like they have no idea how to handle a guy like him, man, because he's not just going to be a yes man,
a pushover,
and he's not going to shit on fans. He's not going to shit on the audience, and they don't know how to deal with an actor like that.
But you would still, I understand that to them, he's a normal, straight, healthy guy. You know, he's not into the, why did you join acting? Oh, because, you know, I hated my mama, I hated my daddy, I wanted to, no, he was just, I love acting, I love gaming, I love computers, I love the lore. But I thought his name has a certain cachet, a certain gravitas to it. So I would figure that they would have to give him that.
He also has the bad luck, man, of doing projects that he is a fan of.
Correct.
And if you're going to do stuff like this in Hollywood, man, you got to just take your fandom out of it, because these people don't care about the fans. They care about their agenda first, and maybe profit after agenda. But unfortunately, Henry Cavill is a fan of a lot of the things he does, and that's going to lead to nothing but heartbreak for him, man, because they're going to continue to, you know, strip him of basically any kind of project that he wants to do at this point, man. Like they're going to take it away from him, or they're just not going to offer it to him at all, which means he's not going to get as many roles, which we're seeing it now, man. Henry Cavill should be the biggest name in Hollywood.
He should be the new Cruise.
Henry Cavill should be the leading man in almost everything.
I agree. He should be everywhere. He should be Tom Cruise at his peak, you know, at his, you know, Top Gun, Days of Thunder, way up there, all that, The Firm. He should be up there, but he hasn't. It's like they're
now, after that, he had a shitty agent, but that's another topic altogether. But a very shitty agent.
So let's hope for the best. The fact that he's executive producer, I understand the way that it works. He's gonna have a lot of say about what goes on. I don't think he's gonna put his name on that.
And this is his baby. This is his big baby. He is a huge Warhammer fan. So, you
know, I have to read about it. I know barely less than nothing about Warhammer.
Same. I'm the same. And I've played Warhammer before. I'm talking about the board game. I mean, the miniatures game. Like I've played it before. So, and even I still don't. I barely scratched the surface of what I know about that game.
Okay. Well, if somebody's in the chat who actually knows about Warhammer, email me. I'm going to need a tutor, somebody to tell me, hey, George, this is really the crux of Warhammer. So let's get back over here. I do, when we get back to our list of the top shows of 2024 by Games Radar, I think obviously that X-Men 97 was good, but in no way does it deserve to have a higher spot than The Penguin.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree.
Number 9. Another show I didn't watch, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I heard it was pretty decent.
Okay.
I haven't seen it.
Neither have I.
I heard it was pretty good.
Anybody in the chat see Mr. and Mrs. Smith? Know nothing about it, except for the movie with Jolie and Pitt.
Yeah.
Baby Reindeer comes in at number 8.
Haven't seen that one either.
One series that totally came out of the left field this year is Netflix Baby Reindeer. With no warning and its trailer being released only 1 week before it aired, the show quickly, what's the show about? Written by and starring Richard Gadd, Baby Reindeer follows a failing comedian whose kind words lead him to be stalked by an extremely overbearing woman, which in turn forces him to face his buried past trauma. Oh, sounds like my cousin. But the craziest part is the real man this all actually happened to is Gadd himself. The series deals with important and hard-hitting subjects such as sexuality and abuse, as well as the dangers of stalking, portrayed by Jessica Gunning's villain Martha, who plays the most fearsome female predator since Kathy Bates in Misery. Oh, that's my ex-wife.
Damn. It sounds kind of interesting, actually.
My cousin and my ex-wife, maybe they wrote this together. So, Silo Season 2 for number 7. I love Silo Season 1. Haven't watched Season 2 yet.
I haven't seen Silo at all yet.
I would watch it if I were
you. That's an Apple show, right?
It
Apple
is.
Plus, yeah.
It's, I will say this. I have watched more quality streaming shows this year from Apple than movies out in the theater.
Interesting. Okay.
I have. It's surprising. It has Ferguson in there, which is one of my favorite. I love Rebecca Ferguson.
Oh, she's amazing. She's gorgeous too.
She is. And she has that thing with her lip, the way, I don't know, it's just the way she speaks and articulates, and the way she nails it in this role. Nails it.
Dude, when I just remember going to the premiere or the screening before it came out. Me and Gore went to a premiere of the Last Mission Impossible, man, and yeah, like just seeing like her and Vanessa Kirby and Haley Atwell. I'm like, oh my God, you have a movie with literally the hottest women in Hollywood right now. I'm like, how does it fail? Like, how do you fail with this?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me how it could. Yeah, no, Rebecca Ferguson. See, to me, the way that she is now being treated by the media is the way Cavill should be treated.
Yeah,
you know, she's being lifted up and kind of like put this halo around her. Adam Rice comes in. I think he's answering my question about Warhammer. Adam Rice, member for 3 months. Hell yeah, member for 3 months. You know, next month it'll be a year. A year. Grab the Horus Heresy novel. Start there. Thank you, good sir. I will.
Yeah, apparently Warhammer has a lot of lore, man. Like,
I love
like
lore.
a shit ton of lore. So
hold on, let me just look that up so I don't want to forget this. I want to understand it, because what I hear on the sides, you know, from friends of mine, like, Warhammer, you're gonna love it, Warhammer. You're gonna love Warhammer. I'm like, okay. Horus, what does he say? The Horus Heresy novels. Horus Heresy. No, I know. Here comes the loud keyboard. Cool. I've gotten it in the PC. Let's go to 6. Slow Horses, season 4. I love Slow Horses. There we go. This show is something I've watched every episode at least twice, because it has Gary Oldman.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Think of a spy series with humor. Gary Oldman as a drunken former spy master who looks to be over the hill and is shoved off in a corner to deal with all the quote unquote slow horses who suck at MI5, and they've just been shoved out. And he deals with them. They're the people who weren't fired, but possibly could be rehabbed into coming back to the main office, the slow horses. But Oldman, my family will say this. My girlfriend will say this. I'll be, every time I put on the show, I'm like, that's Gary Oldman on TV. It's still, I'm stunned by the fact that he's on television. It just, my brain doesn't come. I'm like, that's Beethoven, that's Air Force One.
Yeah.
You know, do you remember when he did True Romance?
Oh, dude, one of my favorite movies of all time, dude. Drexel the Pimp. Come on.
Drexel the Pimp.
Drexel the Pimp. I mean,
white boy up in here.
Dude, that was, man, Gary Oldman, he's been one of my favorite actors, man, for a long time. And The Professional, come on, The Professional, man. Yeah, but it is weird to see a guy that caliber doing TV, but that's where we're at now, man. We see a lot of these guys, man. I mean, Colin Farrell, you know, I mean, people are doing these big actors are doing TV now.
I know, but it doesn't strike you still as odd. Maybe it's because of the time that we grew up. It's just,
because there was a definitive line between a TV actor and a movie actor, and never should the two meet, right?
Yeah,
like you never have someone cross over from TV to movies, well, rarely, and you rarely have someone go from movies to TV, right? In fact, going from movies to TV was a downgrade, so that meant your career was over. So yeah, we're living in a crazy time now, man.
All I remember is his lines. I think that's one of my key markers for what is a great movie or a great show, how quotable it is. You know, you remember things, not only quotable as in dialogue, but the scenes. You remember, they imprint themselves. It's like, you know, when Drex was like, he must have thought this was white boy day. It ain't white boy day, is it? He's like, look, there's some titties on the screen. You ain't looking at them.
Dude, that honestly, that movie, that movie set me on my course for trying to become a screenwriter in Hollywood. I saw that movie in 1992 or 3, and you know what? There was nothing like it. There was nothing like that movie. I'm like, you know what? I think I want to do this.
Oh, great. Didn't Tarantino write it, if I remember?
Yeah, Tarantino wrote it. Tony Scott directed it, and it basically gave Tarantino the money to do his other projects for the most part. So,
number 5, Arcane season 2.
You know what's funny? I did not hate season 2, but it's definitely not as good as season 1.
No.
I don't mind it being on the list. I think it's way too low on the. I think it should be higher up. It should be like number 15, 16, maybe. I did enjoy it for the most part, and I rewatched it. I watched the whole thing. I felt like I missed something. Rewatched it again, and there's a lot more I picked up the second time that I really got. I still feel it was rushed. The whole season was rushed, but I don't mind it being on the list, but it should not be number 5.
No. I just finished. I told you last week I finished watching Arcane season 2. I liked the first 3 episodes, but I felt in the third one things were going wonky. I'm like, this does
Because
not have
you could tell they were running out of time to finish the story, and that was my problem with it.
I think they needed to have had another season and play it out, let it breathe. I don't know. I felt season 1. Season 1 to me had the perfect pace. You know, like it kept the story going. It was never slow. It was never too fast. But when it needed to pick up speed and have, you know, these high kinetic action scenes, it did it. When it needed to slow down the tempo a little bit, it just allowed itself to explore the layers, the richness of the story. This one was kind of like it kept mixing itself up. Do we go fast? Do we go slow? Let's do both at the same time. Hello, you know.
Yeah. And then add to that, you know, and don't get me wrong, I love the art styles in this show. I think, man, some of the best art I've seen in animation. I think sometimes though they got a little too loose with it, where you know it was more style than substance.
Right.
A lot of the times, and
Great way to put it.
Yeah,
Great
they didn't
way.
have to go that route. So
plus they went wokey. I don't think that helped it.
I
don't
want
think
to
it
argue.
helped it. Okay,
I
you're
want to
gonna
argue it was always a woke show though, like, or not woke, but it was always. It was never like.
It didn't feel woke to me in season 1 for some reason.
I mean, there were vibes, but I feel like maybe they leaned more into it this season. But I felt like it was kind of always on the cusp of being alternative. But like I said, the reason why I won't call it super, like I won't call it woke, because like it wasn't like their sexualities or whatever were the main focus of the show. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Like I said, if I could talk about your character and I can discuss 1,000 different things that have nothing to do with your sexuality, then it's a well-written character, right?
I agree with that.
Like I can say 1,000 things about Vi that have nothing to do with her sexuality, and you know that makes her a good character.
You don't think they kind of enhanced it more than what I felt like season 1? It was all about the characters, all about the story, all about the background. This one, it wasn't. I understand you want to do a deeper dive as you go into seasons, but this one felt it was pulling certain thematic elements out to go, let's look at this.
You know what I feel like, man? Honestly, I felt like we wouldn't have noticed it as much if they had the time to have done another season, right? Like I felt like they tried to compact everything in a season because they knew they weren't going to get another season. And I think gradually that stuff probably would have happened, but it probably would have happened in a more natural way than it did in the show. Because in the show, everything was like, we got to keep this moving because we only have one season to get it done.
And you know why they did that? Why they didn't continue it? Was it
you know what's weird? What's really weird is I don't know, because they're already talking about doing spin-offs of League of Legends. Because you have to understand the game League of Legends has 170 characters, man. In this show,
never played it.
In this show, we only got 8 of those 170 characters. So that it's a big world to explore. And they're already talking about doing other shows set in that world, but with different characters.
I really would like to know why they why they made their decision.
Especially on a hit show. It was a hit show. So I don't understand why they only gave them one more season.
I'm going to look into that. I really want to know now. We're coming into number 4, Shogun. One of my favorite shows of the year. I think it deserved to be higher, much higher. This, to me, Shogun, Penguin, they should be vying for number 1, number 2, and then Tulsa King in there. But Shogun number 4, I think it deserved much better. Much better. I love Shogun. I've recommended it to everybody. True Detective. I've wanted to see it. I have not seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Let's see what it says.
I've heard some weird things about Night Country, but whatever.
Like weird how? Weird what?
Because here's the thing. From what I gathered, because I only saw the first season of True Detective. I didn't bother with the other seasons. From what I heard, they were all bad or not as good as the first season. And I heard this one is kind of in that same category.
Maybe I'll avoid it then. All right. Number 2, Fallout.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed Fallout, except for one episode.
Fallout. Should it be number 2 though?
No way. Because then again, it's not better than Penguin. It's not better than Shogun. It's not better than Tulsa King, in my opinion. I think it would be like in the top 10.
Sure. Not. Well, sure. Yeah. Actually, yeah. I would give it top 10, but it should not be above the Penguin.
No.
Or X-Men 97, to be honest with you.
No. I enjoyed every episode except for I think it was 5 or 6. I didn't like 5 or 6.
Yeah, I can't remember. You know what? All I remember is that Walton Goggins, he's one of my favorite actors in Hollywood.
Come on.
So
he is a master.
He is one of the best character actors, I think, working today. So every scene he was in, he kind of stole.
Justified? Justified is like, again, a chef's kiss. That guy knows how to nail it. And what about Sons of Anarchy? When I saw that episode, I was like, that cannot be Walter Goggins.
He plays a tranny. He plays a tranny in Sons of Anarchy, which is crazy, man.
I kept looking at the screen in my eyes. I'm like, is that Walter Goggins?
He's just so good, man. Django, he was, good in The Shield, obviously. I mean,
oh yeah.
The man is just, he's a great actor.
And now, if I had a drum roll, I would do a drum roll. But number 1, The Rings of Power, season 2.
Throw this list away. Throw it away. Throw it away. We're done. We're done here. We're done here, man. No.
Panda Rings of Power got number 1 from Games
Absolutely
Radar.
Not. Games Radar, you should be ashamed of yourself. Like, how do you call yourself? This is someone printed this. Someone printed this. Someone put this out there.
They put this out there. I've got to see what they said though. I closed it, but I have to see what do they actually say about it, because like, what are the words that they use? It cannot be possible that someone actually thought.
Not just on the list, number 1.
Right, which is either Amazon paid a lot of money for that.
I'm thinking somebody got paid. Someone definitely got paid.
Or someone also kissed the gold ring.
Right.
Darker and more intense than season 1. The Panda Rings of Power season 2 returned to us to Middle Earth. No, it actually didn't. Sauron has risen again, not quite, and darkness is threatening to fall across the land. Season 1 was on an absolutely massive scale. Yeah, an absolutely massive blunder. But season 2 somehow finds a way to go even bigger. Okay, you're on medication, bucko. And nowhere is that more apparent than Middle-earth's shaking siege of Eregion, which is spread over multiple installments. It's 2 episodes. That's it. That's not multiple. That's 2. Couple. Oh my God. You won't see a better episode of TV this year than Doomed to Die. Okay.
Absolute bullshit.
Do you know that they finally greenlit season 3 after months? 2 months. I won't make the same mistake that after 2 months. And when you're reading the Screen Rant article, it is stating that, well, even though season 2 was a disappointment, that it had half the ratings, I'm paraphrasing now, half the ratings of season 1, Amazon feels confident that they are building something truly unique on a grand scale. I was like, wow.
You know what, though? Here's the thing, man. I'll believe it when I see it, man, because I get it. I get it. Amazon has more money than God. I get it. But are they willing to throw more of that away? Like, are they willing to, just to make a point, are they willing to lose even more money on this? Because it got half the audience it got the first season. There's no way the third season is going to get
it's going to get half again. Because look at it. Season 1 lost 63% of its audience by the end of the season. The people who started the premiere till the finale. This season lost half of that who are remaining. So season 3, if we follow the logic, is going to lose half of the 63. I mean, what's left? I mean,
and the show costs how much to make?
They dedicated $1 billion to it, and that's between $250 million to buy the rights, and then another $400+ million to make season 1 and 2. Season 2 cost $60 million an episode, so they're going to go over the billion. Number one,
Wow,
they're going over the billion. Oh, they did say they got a 20 million pound break.
The thing that's weird to me about Amazon that I don't get is this isn't going to get people to sign up for Amazon Prime. It's just not, right? The thing is, most people who have Amazon Prime is because they got it for the delivery service.
Correct.
So what's the incentive here? Like, what's the incentive of dropping $1 billion on something that you know is not ever going to give you a return on? Ever. They're never going to get a return on this.
No. I don't know what they're trying. Everything that I keep reading about it is they're trying, they keep relaying how they want to build a legacy, a stable of premier television. Well, that's not premier, because they're saying Rings of Power, Wheel of Time, and they wanted to do Conan. Thank God Jennifer Salke thought it was too masculine, and the gentleman who owns the rights to Conan, the executor, is like, nope, not changing it.
Conan too masculine.
Yeah, that's the point. Kind of. But then they agree, but then they have Reacher season 3. So it really is odd. We're going to have 3 seasons of Reacher. The way they have him, he's pretty damn masculine. It's not right.
You know what's funny? Like, these people like her and Kathleen is like, for them to give the people what they want means they have to admit they're wrong.
They do.
And they'll never do that. They'll never admit that their way of thinking, that their ideology, they'll never admit that it's wrong, right? Because it's they're on the right side of history, right? They're the good guys, and to give us chuds what we want would be placating,
right? The thing is I don't even think Rings got nominated for anything this year. I think last year I got special effects or something, some BS, one of those like special technical, and this year 0. Golden Globes.
It's just, it doesn't matter. It's just bad. Like, look,
is.
It can win every award out there, man. But if it loses, half its audience every, 6 episodes.
That's why I don't, because I was trying to answer your question. I haven't understood, except for it's an ego trip for Jeff Bezos' midlife crisis. He said he was dedicated to doing it. He wanted to bring Tolkien on screen. This isn't Tolkien. So if it doesn't make money, doesn't bring in an audience, and doesn't win awards, because we've heard it from HBO executives before, like they go, this isn't about the money, this is about the audience and the prestige. They want to be known, prestige television, but this isn't that. So I can only see it as an ego trip. What do you think, Chad? Ego trip or not? If you think it's an ego trip, hit 1. If you think it's not an ego trip and something else, hit 2. I'm just curious.
You know what? I will say this though. I really wonder now, like starting, maybe from here on, how much is Hollywood going to adapt and change, right? Because the thing is, they've already lost money, but the thing is, they can't admit how much money they've really lost on all of this stuff, right? And if Cackles would have won, they still would never admit that they were wrong. They still would never change up what they're doing. They have an opportunity now to get back on track, give the people what they want, and at the same time, trip this out. They get to make money.
Right. Which is what they used to be in the business of.
They get to make money on top of that. Right. Stars get to be stars again.
That would be nice. We could have more Sydney Sweeneys.
Yes. So I'm curious, man, if they're going to take, because this is an opportunity. If they're going to take this opportunity, man, to step back, realize that they were fucking clowns this whole time, admit it, be humble, and then start doing good shit again. This is their opportunity to do it right now. Because here's the thing, guys, we're going to be in this for a little while. There were things in the pipe that still haven't even come out yet. So all this woke stuff is going to continue at least till
2026,
27, at least to 27.
Okay.
Because that's how much stuff is in the pipe.
Ironheart.
Maybe then we'll start to see some change.
Yeah, we got Ironheart to look forward to.
Oh God.
Ironheart, aren't you looking forward to the female Iron Man who's smarter than Iron Man?
Yeah. I mean, hey, if anyone is going to be smarter than Tony Stark, is going to be a 16-year-old black girl, because You know.
And her villain from the comic books has been changed into a Chicago activist. Wow. Didn't that just pull you in? You're like, yeah, I really want to see that. It's just, what can you imagine that?
Well, here's the thing. The comic industry, that's a completely different animal, man. That the comic industry is lost.
I know it is, but they have the template there. They have the hood, the characters in the comics. They have them. All they got to do is put them on the screen.
I'm telling you, man. Look.
Something's lost in translation.
The future of comic books right now is indies. That's it. Indie comics, man. If you're looking to the big two, good luck, because here's the thing. Even with Trump being in office, they're never going to change.
What, the comics?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They've been infiltrated on a deep level. Like,
okay, they have to make money to keep the lights on.
Well, that's what the movies are for.
So they are like a losing proposition. What you're saying?
The movies are there to fund the comics at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
No one's going to comic book stores anymore to buy these comics.
Unbelievable.
And you know what's funny? When I go, God, I go to conventions all year. The nerd conventions, and it's funny because the busiest part of the conventions now are the vendors that sell back issues.
Back issues, not new ones.
No, not new ones. Back issues and trades. Though they're the ones making the money.
So so the audience that they're writing for, you're saying this doesn't exist.
Well, here's the thing. Not only does it not exist, the very few that are, they don't buy anything. They don't spend money. They're not going to buy these books.
So they're writing for themselves.
But what they will do is they'll buy an anime plushie toy, and stuff like that.
They'll buy a furry for their furry.
But they're not going to buy an Ironheart book, which is why the book. If you look at the sales of Ironheart, Miles Morales, these books don't sell.
How do you think? Because we're talking about Marvel and superheroes, what do you think that they made Kraven? They're making him into an anti-hero. I read that it's going to be coming out and that it's already going to be somehow doing worse than Madam Web numbers.
Yeah, we're watching it tomorrow. A group of us are, and it's funny because we're going to hit the Yard House first and have a few drinks because we're going to have to. Actually, Paul Chato. I'm meeting up with Paul Chato and Script Doctor and Rob Burnett and Chris Gore. Yeah, we're all going to go drink and then go watch this horrible ass movie. We're talking about Sony, man. At this point, Sony is a weird animal to me because I don't understand why they keep making these. Well,
without Spider-Man,
I get why they're making them because they want to keep the property, they want to keep the IP.
Right, but without Spider-Man, I don't mean to interrupt you, but without Spider-Man, I could see having Kraven versus Spider-man.
You know why though? Because
Spider-Man, that's beautiful.
Because they make more money off Spider-Man being in the MCU, right? Because they're getting a piece of everything Tom Holland does. They're getting a piece of that.
Okay, but don't you think those movies would have succeeded? Well, I think those movies would have succeeded. I think Venom would have done better if it had Spidey in it.
I'm gonna tell you right now. For me, all they had to do, the easiest fix for those Sony movies, they should have just kept Andrew Garfield as their Spider-Man.
Why not? That's great. Have it in another one. Have it in another universe. They're playing with the multiverse anyway.
Exactly. That should have been the Andrew Garfield universe. Kraven, Morbius, Madam Web, all that stuff should have been the Garfield universe. And it probably would have been a better movie or movies because of the fact that they have an actual Spider-Man in the film.
Yeah, but Madam Web, we're talking a low bar though. Madam Web numbers. I wouldn't think Aaron Taylor Johnson, especially. I guess there really are no stars outside of Tom Cruise today. We have Gary Oldman. I'm talking about a star that can anchor a film, that people show up for that person. I would say him and Denzel Washington are the two.
Okay, so here's the thing. Number one, it depends when he signed his contract, right?
Okay.
What's his name?
But I thought Aaron Taylor Johnson had some draw.
No, well, he's not. He's not the guy that's going to put asses in seats. He's just not that guy. I mean, not yet anyway. I loved him in Bullet Train. Loved him.
Oh yeah.
But he's not that guy. But here's the thing. Things look very different on paper, man. Like when you're reading for something, it may sound pretty good, right? Especially when your agent is telling you you're going to be acting opposite of Russell Crowe, who's in the movie. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe was in Kraven.
It's hard to believe, but he was also played Zeus in
Right.
Thor: Love and Pumper, whatever.
Right. So Russell Crowe's at that age now where he just wants the paycheck. That's it.
You know what's horrible about that, real quick, is he did an interview 14 years ago where he was asked about George Clooney. They showed George Clooney and Brad Pitt doing Japanese beer commercials. I think one did a Japanese beer commercial, one did a whiskey. I think whiskey was Clooney. And somehow in the interview, it comes up and they're asking Crowe, what do you think about this? Your fellow thespians who are doing these commercials, but they're doing them only overseas. They're not doing them in the U.S. And Crowe just looked around and says, I think they're all horse. I don't do that. I feel very lucky in my life that I'm able to make a living acting and make more than a living. I make 20 million plus a film, he said, and I'm able to do everything I want, have a rugby team, blah, 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 blah. He said, I will never do anything just for a paycheck if it doesn't pull me in. And then all of a sudden I see him these last few years. I'm like, there's no way he didn't do that for a paycheck. Like, they're straight to streaming.
Oh, it's easy to be, you know, they have ideologies when you're young, right? I mean, it's easy, but as you get older, man, you realize, yeah, the paycheck is nice too.
You know, I like the Idris Elba said that about that show, that movie he did, which I never saw. I saw the trailer for it. The one he did where he was in Africa. I think it was about, I don't know, a tiger, a lion, a crocodile.
Oh,
something.
yeah.
A year and a half.
No one saw that movie, by the way.
They asked him, why are you doing this? He's like, I got kids. I mean, I was honest. I respect that.
Oh,
straight up front.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at Michael Keaton. I mean, he'll tell you in a heartbeat, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this for a paycheck." You know, I don't care about this. I mean, he did The Flash purely for the paycheck.
I thought he did it for the nostalgic return.
Nah, he did it for those numbers. And here's the thing, man, I'm not hating him. I
don't
hate it. It's like, you know, if you want to shill coffee in another country, you know, or shill some beer over there, I would do it.
They asked what's his face, Jim Carrey, why he returned for Sonic 3. He said, money. I need money. I've spent a lot of money and I need money. But he was like, I've spent money on a lot of things and I need more money to spend it on more things.
See, you know what's funny, man? Like, here's the thing. You know, it's not that these guys are just really careless with their money. You guys have to understand, a lot of these guys, they get in relationships. And when they get divorced, they got to pay these women.
They get fleeced.
Right? They got to pay out the ass. So, yeah, best believe they're going to take those paycheck movies because they got an ex-wife that they got to pay, or maybe 2 ex-wives they got to pay.
Who was the actress who was in that TV series? Was it Empire, the one about the music industry?
Oh, yeah, Empire.
You know, who was that actress?
Oh,
I always forget her name.
The main one?
The main one. The one who...
Taraji P. Henson.
That's Taraji.
Yeah.
I have a video of her that I used in a video of mine. The one she, I got if Syndic were here, he would remember. I think it was 6 or 7 months ago, maybe 8 at most, where she went in an interview and she was crying how she only made $12 million and she cannot afford her $6 million home. And she's like, do you know how much money? She goes, I pay to my agent, to my manager, to my lawyer, and I only have $12 million. I'm like, you lady, you're crying. Half the country can't put food on the table, and you're crying about not making 15 million because she's like, somebody else got paid 15 million.
Dude, they live in a different universe, man. And I look at, you know, and it's crazy is I look at some of these, you know, women who like, 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely. You got an earthquake going there. So I'll read this real quick. We got from GraphWeb for $2. Repent, sinners. Cancel Disney Plus. Gotta love the strength of his character just to keep pushing that message. Is everything okay?
Yeah, no, we have this fire alarm in our building that goes off every time someone cooks, right?
Ooh.
Every time someone cooks, this fucking thing goes off. So, and it's loud and super obnoxious. So, yeah, sorry about that.
No. My first apartment, I'll tell you, I smoked a lot. I mean, I was like one of those. I started with Marlboro Red filterless.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Do you need to get like, you know,
no, I'm good. No, I'm good. And you know how it started? Funny. It's what's weird is when I was a kid, my parents smoked. And I used to go pull the cigarettes out of their mouth. Don't do that, you know, because you need to at school. Don't do that. I want you to live. And And then when they're like, we won't. And then when they would continue smoking, my mom took me to the joke shop this one time. There used to be joke shops. I don't even think those things exist anymore. You get whoopee cushions.
Oh,
and
yeah.
vomit.
Yeah, those were fun, man.
Hell yeah. And I had there was this little pack of, I don't know what they call them. I bought a pack here, but I also bought a pack in Greece. Well, they bought them, not I bought them. And they were called tracatruques. You stuck this little stick inside the cigarette. They'd light it, and after a few seconds, puffing on it, it would blow up. It would split the cigarette in half.
Yeah.
So I got a pack because my mom quit smoking. I would just bug her. And so I got a pack and put it into my dad's cigarettes. First time, it scared the shit out of it because he's like smoking, all of a sudden, pop, because I would bury it deep with a toothpick. And he's like, okay, I get the message. He lit the next cigarette. I filled 5 cigarettes out of every pack he had. He's like, okay, this is now costing money. And I'm like, well, you don't smoke. So I was the little shit who say don't smoke. Of course, there's a picture of me when I'm 2 years old. The whole family is there, a bunch of kids there. And when I was 2, again, I didn't know better. You want to imitate. I saw my dad at that point, the one who would later kidnap me. But at that point, I idolized him. The way he'd hold his cigarette, I don't know why, it looked, my granddad smoked it. It looked, I don't know, something. It was like heroic. I don't know. So I said, I want to hold one. So I have a picture of me holding one.
Oh, at 2 years old?
Like just holding it like this. My mom's like, will you never not tell that story? It's embarrassing. Your dad wanted you to take that picture.
That's hilarious.
So years later, I was always the big anti-smoker, big anti-smoker. And then I fell in love for the first time. And the girl smokes. Where we're going to go on our first date. And I think she smoked camels, yeah. And, I didn't want, because she had this thing when she first got to our school, she had told friends of friends of friends, she was a class above me. She had said something like, she had let it be known in high school, don't try to date her or ask her out. She doesn't date boys, she dates men.
Oh, God.
Like a senior.
Yeah, I knew a lot of chicks like that in high school.
You know what I'm talking about. I don't date boys, I date men. So it stuck in my mind. Not only did I think a lightning came down when I first saw her, but that, it did something in my brain. Like, I got to go out on a date with her. Just stuck in my head. Long story short, we go out on a date, and I bought a pack of cigarettes. The only thing they had was Marlboro Red filterless. So I tried to practice smoking before the date. I was green as could be.
Dude, you might as well put your mouth on the exhaust pipe, man. Jesus Christ.
When I finally got the date, it's like, when she lit her cigarette, it's like, she pulled out her cigarette, I lit it for her, and then I whipped mine out, and I was like, all chest puffed up. I go to take a puff, and it's like, she's like, something wrong? No, water, that I drank. Went down the wrong. Anyway. So that was how it was. The anti-smoking story. But,
yeah, the things we do, man. Like, I remember to impress a girl, man. Like, I remember I was at a party and I had never smoked weed in my life ever. And the circle was doing it, and this hot girl that I really wanted to talk to or was there, never met the girl before, but she was just blazing hot, right? And she's there, puffing away, and she's with her girls. And so, I come over Mr. Smooth, trying to spit my game at her, and we're talking, and she's like, oh, you want a hit? And I'm like, yeah, I'll take a hit, like whatever. I never smoked weed.
Yeah,
I took a hit, man, and I was like coughing on the ground for about 5 minutes, man. So embarrassed. Everyone's pointing and laughing. I was like, damn it. And I was like, what? I'll never touch this stuff again. Sure enough, 2 years later, man, it's like bong. And
I have to tell you a story one day. I have to tell you, I've only done it three times in my life. That's right. The thing is, you're talking about your apartment and the alarm, the smoke alarm. That's how this started. So my very first apartment, I chain smoked. My grandmother used to do that. We drive to Galveston, and it's dead of winter because she was going to see my aunt who lived there. and the windows would be rolled up, and she'd be like, she'd have one, and then she'd light the next one off of the other one when I was younger. And I like rolled down the window because it's like, trying to, she's like, hey, we're going to catch pneumonia. Roll it. I'm like, fuck, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
So my first apartment was like that. You'd smoke a few cigarettes. Next thing you know, like, man, because, your first apartment, cheap as possibly can be.
Yeah.
And alarm would go off. Anyway, this story broke earlier, and I was curious why it happened. I haven't been able to find any reasoning. Cooper quit.
And the rumors are.
Go ahead and play it.
Hey guys, some of you have heard the rumors online, and the rumors are mostly true. Today, December 10th, will be my last day hosting the comment section and working for the Daily Wire. It is not true that I am being forced out. It was my own choice to leave. And believe me, this is bittersweet. I have had the most unbelievable 3 years helping to craft the show, building this community, and telling stories and sharing the truth every day. Through the comment section, you all have made me braver, more articulate, more thoughtful, more hopeful than I could have ever imagined. And I'm grateful that we spent this time together. And I'm grateful that the Daily Wire gave us a platform to grow this community. But at this point in my life, I am ready to take on a new direction, both personally and professionally. This means new challenges and new endeavors, which I will share with you soon. As for
Okay, right there. Whenever I hear that, I always think something's up. New challenges, new obstacles to overcome. Seriously, really?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the jargon that they all have to use when they're doing this stuff, man. Here's the thing. I don't really know what's going on with the Daily Wire. I every time I hear a story about them, it's like a shit show.
Candace
over there. I don't know who's running it. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But to lose somebody like Brett Cooper, though, like that's a big hit, man, because she's really good. Like she's like, in this YouTube space, you look at people who are doing it well and you want to try to imitate that, right?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they kick ass. And I remember when I first started thinking about doing YouTube, right? I looked at different people and she was one of them. And I'm thinking she's so young, but she's so damn good at doing this job. It's really shocking that they will let somebody like her go because she pulls in the numbers, man.
She does, but do you think it doesn't pass the smell test for me, that whole I want new challenges and move into a different part of my life. I always find that doesn't pass the smell test.
Oh no, that's the usual jargon. Like that's the BS, right? Like we all know it's something else. Either she's not getting paid what she wants.
Okay.
And she's deciding to leave, which, hey, I get it. It's like if I knew I was worth something and I didn't feel like I was getting that, then yeah, I'm out of here.
But that would be a bad call from Daily Wire if they weren't paying her because she brings it in.
Well, she brings it in, but it also depends on what are they giving her though, right? Like whether and how does that work? Does she have ownership in her own show as well as the Daily Wire? Like I don't know the dynamics of how that works.
And will the comments section continue with the Daily Wire but without Brett Cooper? Because
it already is. They've already replaced her.
But see, I only watched it for Brett Cooper.
Right.
I didn't watch it because it was the comment show.
That's the problem. Is like she was the comment section.
Correct. It's like the only time that passes the smell test for me when I hear language like she used is for British television. Because it's a very odd thing. There are shows that I watch from the UK from the past, and you watch a season or two, and then you're like, hey, where did this character go? And you go look it up. They're like, well, he did 2 seasons, she did 3 seasons, and it's time to move on. Like they do that a lot in the UK. They just, I'm like, why are you leaving? Just sit your ass down, enjoy the show. It's a hit show. Get your money. They're like, no, need new challenges. And I see it over and over and over. I'm like, they all can't be being screwed over. And when I was talking to Matthew Marsden, he's like, no, that's very typical there. They just, it's a profession for them. They've honed the acting, and they feel like once they've done the core meat of the story, they just time to go. I was like, okay. So I was just wondering, Brett Cooper, well, I wish her luck. I can't wait to see the Snow White movie. I would really love to see how it's going to. I wonder, you think if she went to acting, she went back to acting?
Well, she used to be an actor, right?
I know. You think maybe she went back to that?
I still think she's going to still do YouTube. I think from what I've heard, she still has a show coming up. Okay. So she's still going to do that. I don't know. It's not going to be called the comment section, obviously. It might just be live with Brett Cooper, but She's still going to do that. You know, man, it's weird. Like I don't know what her passion is when it comes to the acting stuff. Like, you know, she left for a reason, obviously.
Correct.
From doing it, and Hollywood is such a mess. I don't know.
And I can't see her politics and value system would be something that Hollywood today would embrace.
No, I mean, I just saw Zachary Levi with Bill Maher yesterday, and he was on the podcast, and you know, it sucks, man. But I seriously think that guy's career is in trouble, man, for standing up for Trump. There's no place for it in Hollywood.
You and me both. But we're gonna play that in a little bit. He says he hasn't lost any jobs, and I was like, well, good. God bless him.
Well, it depends. I mean, yeah, maybe he already signed for those jobs, but what is the future though? Like will he get more jobs after that? You know what I mean?
That's a good question. Question.
But hey, you know what? If there's been no backlash on him other than some dumbass actress spouting bullshit about him, then good. I hope he keeps working.
Hell yeah. I cannot wait till we can get him on the show. Blitzen gifted 10 Georgia Giant Slayer memberships. Hallelujah. How you doing, Blitzen? Always great to see you. Always, when I hear Blitzen say, I'm like, it's like you feel good. It's like Christmas time.
I know, man.
I love it. Blitzen, that's why I'm always like, hallelujah. I always feel like it's Christmas when I hear his name. Thank you, Blitzen. Everybody, please go thank Blitzen. Amazing supporter. And then we got Jose Taco, member for 7 months. How you doing, Jose? Hey, did everything go great with a wrestling match? I'd love to know. I like Brett, but she was fed. She was fed the Nerd Gamer stuff. She was fed the Nerd Gamer stuff. What's the nerd? She was fired for the Nerd Gamer stuff, or are you saying she was fed the Nerd Gamer stuff?
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about exactly, because like she covered some things, but she rarely covered things that were related to, like, you know, Geek Fair, right? Like I mean, she might have talked about a video game here and there, but that wasn't the norm for her.
Right. And talking about Zachary Levi, so he went on Bill Maher and it kind of went toe to toe with him. I really respect the fact that feed as in content. Gotcha. She was fed she was fed was she fed Nerd Gamer content? That's what Jose is saying.
She might have been, man, because I think all of them are at the Daily Wire, man. You think Ben Shapiro you know, really like knows all about the stuff that we talk about? Probably not. I mean, he probably doesn't game, but he talks about it now and then. Hell, even Matt Walsh talks about stuff he shouldn't be talking about a lot of times, man.
So here is Zach. I have a couple of clips from when he joined Bill Maher on his podcast. I respect Zachary Levi for so many things. He also has an organization, nonprofit, that helps people. But he stood his ground. He's not one of these lilting, you know, wallflowers. He's like,
he's a stand-up guy, man.
Yeah, I like that. I admire that.
Dominion voting systems and all this bullshit that they tried to. And again, this is the main difference between the left and the right here. When the left loses an election, yes, they grumble about it and they say things they shouldn't, like he's an illegitimate president. They don't actually try to stay in office. Kamala Harris.
Hang on a second. Bill, if Hillary Clinton and the Democrats got their way when they were challenging Trump and saying he was an illegitimate president in 2016, and they somehow got that bullshit Steele dossier to somehow, which was, by the way, all completely nonsense.
You watch too much Fox News.
No, I don't watch Fox News at all. I legitimately do not watch Fox News.
Well, you're getting
this.
Hold
on a second, Bill. Did they not all think that he was a Russian asset, and that Russia had fixed the election?
Okay,
was that not what they were saying?
Okay, but I got to explain to you the difference.
Was it not?
And then we don't have to talk about this all night.
What?
I think Bill is smoking too much stuff, because that's exactly the point. Yes, she conceded the election, and 36 hours later, she was starting the Russia thing.
Yeah, the problem with Bill Maher, man, is he's that guy who always thinks that he's the smartest guy in the room.
You've met them. Everybody's met somebody like that.
Yeah, he always thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and that, you know, there's no topic that he can't debate. The thing is like when you call him on his bullshit, then he gets angry.
Right. And he gets pissy, but he doesn't get pissy like a man. I don't know.
Right. No, you're right. He gets very pissy, you know. He's one of those guys who, you know, he's like these what I call LA intellectuals, you know what I mean?
Oh, what's that?
It's like these people who, if you go to some of these parties that I've been to, there are these people who they speak in a way where they sound like they're smart.
Like the Hamptons, kind of like?
Yeah, like they sound like they're smart because of the big words they're using, but then you realize they're not really saying anything at all.
Word salad.
Oh, complete word salad. Yeah.
So like $25 words.
Yeah, exactly. But they give off this air of, there are that there are definitely people that are below them, right? And that's how Bill Maher speaks.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
And he does, and it was crazy. He does it with his guest.
So, I've seen it on his hour, but he didn't used to do that in the beginning. Remember Politically Incorrect?
Oh, I used to love that show. I used to watch it every midnight.
It was very based at the time.
Time, yeah, because it was early 90s. It was, it was raw. It was and also a big important thing is Bill wasn't an old man then. Right, Bill has
changed. You think it was age that changed?
Well, age and money, right? It's like the older and richer you get, the more BS you spout.
That's why I support Zachary Levi. The guy has money. It's like my granddad, when he was help raising me, he had told me, look, if you won't stand up when you don't have anything in life, because it was a issue at school, a teacher had been fired, and I wanted to stand up with him. So it's like, yes. George Molo actually put together with other people a little protest for this teacher who was fired, who later passed away, even though I can't stand protesting. But my granddad's like, if you don't stand up for something you believe in when you have nothing, you will never stand up for it when you have money. Because I told him one time, well, is it easier if you stand up when you have money? He goes, no, you have more to lose then. So either you're a person who has a spine and a character and stands up for what you believe in, or you won't. Because he goes, if you think it gets easier when you make money in our success, it gets harder because you're thinking, he goes, you don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. So you got nothing to lose.
Right.
He goes, when you have the window, the car, the family, the this, the that, and you get bigger and you have, let's say, jets and crap like movie stars do. He goes, then they're starting to think, wait a minute. Do I want to risk this all? But he goes, if you have that inside of you, because you won't care. You could do it again, whatever. So when I look at Zachary Levi, I'm like, yeah, you know what? He stood up, just like Justine Bateman. He stood up knowing he could lose everything and go, this is what's right. It's the Phobos for $2. Zachary Levi should have been Mr. Fantastic. Much love, G. Much love to you, Phobos. I agree. I like him and the other guy's name who I always forget from The Office.
Oh, John Krasinski.
I don't know why his name just doesn't stick in my head, but I liked the way he looked as Mr. Fantastic.
Either one of those guys, and it's funny because they always get compared to each other too, Zachary and John. But either one of those guys would have been an amazing Mr. Fantastic. I hate that.
I don't like Pascal.
Pedro Pascal, man. I don't understand why Pedro Pascal is the go-to guy.
Come on, there must have been something you've heard in Hollywood.
Honestly, I really don't. It's one of those weird things, man. No one talks about. It's like he. Don't get me wrong. He's not a bad actor at all, right? But I don't get why he's the go-to for everything.
I know, but it's from Star Wars to Disney to Marvel to.
He owns all of it, right? So maybe he's Disney's boy,
But then Gladiator. Ridley Scott.
I don't know.
They try to cream him, and when you see how many projects that they rumored that he's attached to, and he's like, "Well, I don't have time. I'm like, what is it? Is it a look about him? Is it he knows everybody? Because I didn't find in his family tree that it's not like he comes from a Hollywood family that I found.
Right.
Like, okay, so it's not nepotism. That was my first thought. Maybe there's something in his background. All right, it's just, and I don't find him that. You know what? I don't forget his individual personal politics aside. I do not believe he has gravitas. I think he's a good actor. I don't think he has that presence.
I agree. He's a solid actor. He's a solid actor. Outside of that, there's really nothing about him for me to justify why he gets as many roles as he gets. I know that maybe his politics do play a part in it. I know like he really rose to fame, back when he was defending his trans brother or sister or whatever they transitioned to. He won a lot of favors with that. So who knows, but
you know what I'm talking about, the gravitas. Like if you look at Anthony Hopkins or Denzel Washington or Russell Crowe,
right?
Those gentlemen could sit in a chair and say nothing, Ian McKellen, and the camera turns on, and you're drawn to them.
Right.
And it's just like that energy, whatever you want to. It's just boom. Pedro Pascal. I'm like, oh, okay, it's Pedro Pascal. Like I don't get this anyway.
No, I don't get it either. I really don't.
Mr. I like that Blitzen, Mr. El Fantastico. Oh.
You got canceled for basically saying.
Have I been canceled?
Well,
I hope I haven't been canceled yet. I mean, if it happens, it happens. I guess.
I mean, come on, didn't you lose jobs for that? Isn't that what canceling is?
No, for coming out and voting for Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I have yet to see what the ultimate effects of.
Holy shit! Is that all the stuff Bill drinks and smokes, or are my eyes deceiving me?
I mean, I don't know if he does, but I mean, if he does it all, but I think he just had. I think it's like it's just for decoration. I think.
You sure? Because the last time I saw one of these, there was only a whiskey bottle and 2 glasses, but here I think I see a bong in the background.
Oh, probably, man. I mean, I think he does this stuff to make himself look cool.
Okay.
Well, that are going to be. I already had multiple jobs that I was in the process of shooting or that I have yet to shoot, and none of those have been compromised. All of those, like none of my producers or any of these studios behind those films or projects have called and said, "Hey, listen, this is a line too far, and we can't have you associated with the project anymore." We're all still full steam ahead on those. How it ultimately plays out in the future, I don't know. I'm going to sit down with my team. I've been in Eastern Europe making this movie all during the election and everything. I mean, I was all, kind of disconnected a lot from what was going on other than social media and following the news and kind of seeing the play-by-plays. But, I'm going to sit down with my team and we'll talk about, because I haven't talked to any of them. They might say, "Hey, listen, we've had some phone calls with some people and they don't want to work with you anymore." I don't know.
Is Bill even listening, or is he making a cocktail?
Yeah.
Isn't that rude? I mean, I know that.
It kind of is. I think that's what he does though on every show or every one of these things anyway. Again, he does all this shit, I think, just to make himself look cool. Like he's the hip older guy who smokes weed and, drinks whiskey.
I guess it just is rude. You got a guest there and you're like, why don't I eat a fucking hot dog while you're at it too while the man is talking?
Right. Yeah.
I don't find that hip and cool. I find that just rude. Anyway, so Zach, thank God he wasn't canceled. He's moving forward. And he said, the producers haven't called to say, "Yeah, you're not wanted anymore." But I guess we have to wait to see if he gets new jobs.
But you know what, though? Maybe the tide is turning, man, because, we had, who was it? Sarah Silverman, who came out recently, who said she's not going to talk politics anymore because, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't help their career. It doesn't. And she also made that statement because she saw that the tide was turning and culture was turning. So, she wants to still get work.
Yeah, she does. Absolutely. Eric K for $5. Pedro Pascal's box office poison. His only projects that are successful are projects that would have been successful with another actor.
That might be true.
Mandalorian season 1, if I recall, was a hit ratings wise. So was season 2. What else has he done?
But you know what's funny, man, is if Pedro were not even connected to the Mandalorian, it still would have did fine. Because he has his helmet on the whole time anyway, man. And the way his voice sounds, any actor could have played that part. So I don't even give him the Mandalorian as part of his. He's not the reason why that show is successful.
Good point. What about Game of Thrones? Well, again, another one when he was in, what was he, the Red Viper, Red Snake?
Yeah, something like that.
But again, the show could have put anyone in that at that point. So it wasn't. So he hasn't. If we really think about it, he has not anchored a project where it has taken off because of him. Like you go, this is being led by Pedro Pascal, and boom, box office hit.
The closest to that I would say would be maybe The Last of Us.
Okay, but
that might be the only thing close, and that's because he does kind of look like
he does
the game character. So I'll give him The Last of Us.
Okay, so if he's now in demand by Hollywood, the it guy, what the hell's going to happen to him? Because and I know that Fantastic Four is going to be a hit. Unless I will put this caveat out. I said it last week when we were discussing it. If Captain America, Brave New World shits the bed as bad as we think it will, and they don't push the date on Fantastic Four, I think it's going to have blowback on the brand. I think people are I'm just hoping I'm wrong.
I mean, here's the thing, man. They really can't afford it, man, because they got Captain America and Ironheart coming out in the same year, and
I know,
and a bunch of other Disney Plus shows that just no one cares about. So it's going to be really bad. I think Fantastic Four. I think Fantastic Four is going to be pretty decent. I think it's going to be good. Like, there's a part of me for some reason, because of all the things I keep hearing about it, I feel like it's going to do well. But you're right. It does depend on when it comes out. It depends a lot on when it comes out.
Think about this, Verbal. Captain America: Brave New World comes out February. Supposedly. Let's say it holds on to February. Right? We all know it's done. Its goose is cooked. It's going to be mean to death. Destroyed by Rotten Tomatoes, everybody, by what we've already heard, by the fact that they've had to reshoot it 4 times, and it's got a $500 million production budget. Okay. Then April, Ironheart. Boom, boom. And then you're going to have July, Fantastic Four. Like, to me, if they wanted to guarantee Fantastic Four hit, they would make, they'd push Captain America: Brave New World and Ironheart till September.
Well, here's the thing. There is a buffer. The buffer being the Thunderbolts, right? The Thunderbolts is going to be between, which I've actually heard was pretty good.
Yeah, you told me.
Which is crazy. So there is a buffer. If Captain America does come out in February, and then we give it enough space, and then Thunderbolts that comes out, which is supposed to be good, comes out, then the Fantastic Four, they might be okay, but it's going to be iffy.
We need to hear the studio strategically go, we're trying to tell everybody that we've made this course correction. Let's not give them the biggest piece of shit we have for the first thing in 2025, followed by a TV series, which is a POS, followed by a good movie, because people, we constantly hear superhero fatigue. It's not superhero fatigue. It's bad movie fatigue. So what are they going to do? I would be like, strategically remove Ironheart, remove Captain America: Brave New World from the schedule. Let Thunderbolts, if it's supposed to be good, anchor that, and then jump into Fantastic Four and put fucking Brave New World on streaming with Ironheart.
Well, what's crazy, man, is like just a couple of days ago, they've already announced Chris Evans is coming back. And it's like before Captain America even comes out.
But you and I said that last week. What we said was the only chance that could save the MCU next year, they would have to somehow get Evans back. So if people, or even do a cameo, maybe I said he has to do a cameo as Captain America, because then people could go, okay, I just watched Captain America: Brave New World, but guess what? This whole movie was shit, but there's a cameo of real Cap is coming.
But the problem with that is, man, like, why even
insulting.
Then don't release Captain America 4 at all.
I agree, but then
just shelve it, because I know they can't for obvious reasons, because they signed a bunch of contracts and shit like that.
Why can't they put it to streaming?
They could go straight to Disney Plus.
$500 million. Don't make the same mistake as Amazon.
I know.
But they say
but here's the thing. Look,
pissed.
okay, it's $500 million, right? But that's without marketing.
So you're talking what?
700? So with marketing, it'd be cheaper to not market this at all and just throw it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But we know they're going to do it because, number one, hey, the optics, right? The optics of shelving the Black superhero movie in Black History Month, right? So we already know about the optics, so they're not going to do it because of that. But they're going to lose a shit ton, man. They're probably going to lose about roughly $700 million.
Yeah, I just don't think Black History Month will save it if they marketed it 24 hours a day, because it's not of the quality by what we've heard, or what I've heard of Black Panther, the first one.
No, Black Panther had a lot of things going for it. Man.
A lot of heart, and a gentleman who was fighting cancer.
Yes,
giving his all. People forget that,
and a beloved Black actor playing T'Challa. So I mean, like, it doesn't have that kind of energy. It's not like no one cares. No one's going to care that Captain America 4 is out in the theaters.
Yeah, you can't sell it as the first Black superhero. We did that with Black Panther. You can't sell that in it. You can't say what the first Black Captain. There's no selling point to dig into Black History Month. So I'm trying to look at it from marketing wise. It would make sense that someone goes, Put this piece of shit on streaming or push it back till September.
I mean, you realize, and you know, if my boy is watching this, who works for the MCU, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first couple of drafts of this, like, you know, before all the reshoots, it was pretty woke, man. Like, and I mean, in a crazy way, like very racial, very, you know, whatever. And they realized, well, maybe we should cut back on this, cut back on that. And I think at this point, though, after the fourth reshoot, I mean, there's nothing else to. What else can you do?
Yeah,
you're basically redoing the whole thing over again. So
again,
this is going to, you know, they need the Fantastic Four to do well.
Yeah,
they need it to do.
They
well.
don't have a choice. They really don't have a choice. That's why I thought they would somehow come up with a way to move it. And then then Disney's going to have a hard time next year. Disney's Snow Woke.
Oh no!
Disney's woke Snow White star Rachel Zegler's latest movie Y2K bombs at the box office. I'm almost finished with a video. It's like half Y2K review, half Hollywood's turned against her. It's really encapsulating it all. But the film, you know, it premiered in 9th place. So not only is the film bad, I will say this: don't waste your money on it. The first 21 minutes are solid teen R comedy. They are. You know, I can't believe I'm saying this. It's not about Rachel Ziggler. She's really not that good in it. They were very poorly done. And her interviews haven't helped. But after that, I feel like the director stopped writing the script. It felt like an SNL skit, the first, you know, where you have some SNL skits, like they start like a 5-minute skit where it starts really strong, you're laughing, they're laying the foundation, and then somebody was like, just free flow the rest of it. That's what the movie felt like. It felt like they nailed the first 21 minutes, and then Kyle Mooney was like, hey, we got this all in the bag. Y'all figure it out. Bring in Fred Durst. Okay. We have an extended cameo for him. And let's go into Skynet meets Suburbia with Max Moe. Horrible movie. A horrible movie. And,
I have no desire.
No, there's no point.
I have zero desire to go watch this film. There's no point, man.
It has the lowest A24 Rotten Tomatoes score.
And for me, look, man, A24 is a good studio. They're a solid studio. I stand by them. They let everybody do what they want to do. So, you know, it's not their fault that this movie was made. But the thing I don't get for me is, you know, Rachel Ziggler aside, from what I've been hearing, she's not even the biggest problem with this film.
No, she isn't. No, not at all. But she can't anchor
it's
one.
It's just a bad
either.
Film.
Oh, yeah, it is a bad. That's why I said it's 90%. It's 90%. I'll tell you what she did bad in a second. It's 90% on Kyle Mooney. He wrote a solid 21 minutes. He filmed a solid 21 minutes, blocked right, staged right, deep cuts of nostalgia, perfect, everything. And then just turned it off. It turned into the wrong thing. He tried to put in too many. You know, it's like making a copy. You remember old Xerox machines?
Yeah.
It's a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. The first 21 minutes is art imitating art. American Pie meets a riff on Superbad.
Which is fine.
Yeah, it works. It does. Then the clock strikes midnight and it becomes, let's copy Terminator, Maximum Overdrive, Cabin in the Woods. I can literally see the films. It was one, and throw Fred Durst in.
You know, and again, I said this on Versus Monday, man. Like it just pisses me off, man, when I see something like that where I know I could have wrote something better than that. In my sleep, right? And it's such a simple formula, and all they had to do was stick to it, man. You know, it's 1999, it's New Year's Eve, you know, and throughout the raunchy comedy, you show scenes of, you know, people like going to stores and hoarding and panicking and all this stuff, but that's just the outset. On the inset, you have a couple of high school guys who are like, hey, man, if the world's going to end, I want to get laid. And the whole movie should have been about them trying to get laid before the end of the world. That should have been the whole film.
I will tell you what else drove me crazy about it. It has someone that I can't stand more than Rachel Ziggler, the asshole from Deadpool 2.
Who?
The New Zealand actor. The one who Deadpool and Deadpool 2 tries to protect.
Oh, the kid?
I can't stand him.
Oh, he's terrible. Yeah.
He is cringy as hell. He's just got this. I don't know.
Yeah, he's I don't know how this kid keeps getting work, to be honest with you.
No idea. But it didn't also help the fact that you could tell when an actor cares about the role, even if it's a comedy. You cannot tell jokes. You can't make the audience laugh when you don't have a foundation for it. She did no research. She was asked what she thought of what Y2K was. Now, I understand she was born in 2001, but she got paid for a job, which means as an actor, get your ass and do research.
What did y'all know about Y2K growing up, or did you know much at all before the script came along?
I feel like it had mostly been used to describe a certain aesthetic for like clothing, music.
She goes on to say Y2K was a fashion statement, a music list.
Okay. Here's the thing. In all fairness,
she wasn't joking. She says, "I didn't know what it was till we were shooting."
I mean, how old is this girl? She's what, 23 years old?
Yeah, she was born 2001.
Okay, so yeah,
but no research. Come on, I would give it to her too, but there's no.
But you're right. You're absolutely right.
She got paid for a job. Could you imagine you get paid for a job and go, "Yeah, I don't know what the hell this job is, but I'll thank you for the check."
It's like I keep saying this, and I'm going to keep screaming this to the top of my lungs, man. These people need media training. These studios need to pay for media training. They need to have someone train these stars to go out and talk to the people on camera. They need training, man. This is crazy. Like, to me, it's getting to the point of ridiculous now. It's like, okay, I get it. Maybe you don't know everything about your craft. I get that, right? You should know some things. You should know like the basics at least.
Correct. Anything. At least for the interview, go look it up. Hell, go to Wikipedia. Go read something.
But it's kind of like what Rob Burnett said, man. Like these young actors, they don't watch movies. They don't know their history, man. Like they can't quote you a movie from like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. They haven't seen the classics, right? They don't know their craft at all.
Yeah, but it's pretty pathetic to get a paycheck and not know that. I was stunned. I was just stunned. The other thing I was pretty interesting was that the director of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Cucking Indiana Jones with another sexless co-star came out again after it came out last week, and he's explaining why the movie failed, and he's attacking the fans.
Of course he is. This is Mangold, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
James Mangold. You have a wonderful, brilliant actor who's in his 80s. So I'm making a movie about this guy in his 80s, but his audience on one other level doesn't want to confront their hero at that age. And I'm like, I'm good with it. We made the movie, but the question is, how would anything have made the audience happy with that other than having to start over again with a new guy? And then here comes lifelong heroes from my childhood into my life going, we have something for you to work on. It was a joyous experience, but it hurt in the sense that I really love Harrison. And I wanted audiences to love him as he was and to accept that that's part of what the movie has to say, that things come to an end. That's part of life. He goes on to complain that people were ageists. Not fun, but they're ageists. They hated having an old man on the screen. And I'm like, no. They hated having him punched. They hated having him cast aside. They
hated having him cucked by some young actress who everyone hated.
Yep. So he's doing the Feige thing from Ghostbusters 2016. It's Trump's fault. It's MAGA's fault. It's toxic masculinity.
There was a way to tell that story, man, where his age, would have been irrelevant, right? There was a way
you could have come up with it. Absolutely.
There was a way to tell that story so much better, man. I think somebody on Versus said it the other day, where it was like, if they would have exchanged Phoebe Waller-Bridge for the actor who plays Short Round.
Oh, yeah.
We would have had a completely different movie.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And a passing of the torch movie at that.
It would have worked because then you would have had something to look forward to in the future, not had to redo it. You would have had it built in to the show. I agree 100%.
Also, you know what people hated about the old man Indy? They hated the fact that, okay, yeah, Indy's older. We get that. But you make him this broken old man whose wife left him and his son dies in Vietnam, and he's this cranky old guy yelling at the clouds. Like, dude, come on. You're the one who fucked him over.
Yeah, maybe he was ageist because he made him look. He did the exact same thing Rian Johnson did to Luke Skywalker. Exact same thing. Grumpy old guy that has no hope left. The universe sucks. The world sucks. Life sucks. Oh, and a young girl.
It was exactly the same thing except for the green titty milk.
That's pretty much it. And that instead of getting green titty milk, he got popped in the face because you don't know. You can't stay here. What did he say? Just leave me here. This will be my world. Archimedes, it's like, no. Anyway, this video I saw the other day, people keep saying it's the greatest 90-second clip currently on social media. Tell me what you think.
Americans are the most loving, God-fearing, fair, least discriminatory people on the planet. And they want to know that if you're waking up and thinking about harming American citizens, or if American citizens are taken hostage and kept in dungeons, or if you're a foreign power sending fentanyl to poison our people, something really bad is going to happen to you and your friends and your cousins and your bank account and your mistress and whoever was involved. And when Americans are spending $1 trillion on defense, what I want and what I think my peers want is, why are these people keeping our citizens hostage, torturing our people, attacking our allies, maligning us in what was once called the United Nations, basically a discriminatory institution against anything good? We need to stand up, and those people need to be scared. And that's why this conference is so important, because we have the best products in the world, and we cannot have parity. Our adversaries do not have our moral compunction. If it's even, they will take advantage of our niceness, kindness, our desire to be at home in Nebraska or New Hampshire or wherever we live in our peaceful environments. And they need to wake up scared and go to bed scared. And if you give that to the American people will go back and say, and honestly, probably shouldn't say this is why I thought the Democrats were going to lose the election, why they did, because people want to live in peace. They want to go home. They do not want to hear your woke pagan ideology. They want to know they're safe. And safe means that the other person is scared. That's how you make someone safe. And the average American person understands this. Unfortunately, many of the intellectually captured institutions, funneled and intellectually owned by the Berkeley faculty, do not. And that's what they want. It's sure as hell what I want. And that's what Palantir and all the people in this room, I hope, we're here to serve the American people. And my version of service is the soldiers are happier, the enemies are scared, and Americans go back to enjoying the fact that we're the only one with a real tech scene in this country, and we're going to win everything.
Beautiful.
Wow.
It's Dr. Ailes Carr from Palantir, Peter Thiel's company. And I agree with him, let's make it the home of the brave again. You want our enemies to be scared. It's peace through strength.
Yeah.
It's all part of the doctrine. Of course, we have a gentleman like that who's like, basically, God bless America. I love America. Let's make America great again. And then you turn around and you got the Rosie the Riveter. She just can't keep her mouth shut. Now she's blaming her cold sore on MAGA.
Well, hey, everybody, it's Friday all day, as my Nana would say. And look what I have on my lip. Everybody's been saying, you have herpes all this time, and I never had a cold sore in my life. And now I have a cold sore. And it makes me think that perhaps this weird pimple that had a tiny little head was a cold sore too. And so I talked to my doctor today, and I did a video telehealth. And they said that it's not a cold sore, it's some reaction to the sun. Now, I did sit in the sun yesterday, but I had sunscreen on. So I don't know. I will let you know tomorrow if I do, in fact, have herpes, as some of the taunting from the MAGA people in the last couple of weeks. Hasn't it been fun, ladies and gentlemen, to be standing in direct opposition to everything he is and represents?
She can't seem to stop herself. Like she's now defining herself by him, by Trump.
I really do wish like there was like, and I say this, non-jokingly. I really do wish there was almost a safe space for these people to go to and just hide out and hang out right together, and you know what I mean? At least a support system so that they can like
comfort each other.
Not just comfort each other, like get some therapy, work out your issues, because and then leave a better person, like a person who is fucking normal, right? Because her being a lesbian has nothing to do with her being normal. I know plenty of normal lesbians.
Oh yeah,
a ton of them. She's not normal, and people like her aren't normal, man. And they're not admitting that they have like some deep psychological issues that they're not dealing with, man. Trump, he's not just living rent free in their head, man. I mean, he is like, like the demon on their back. Like these people can't escape him, man. Like it's crazy to me. He's like the Freddy Krueger of their
Freddy Krueger
of their dreams, man.
Damn, I can see.
It's just crazy to me, man. Like how obsessed they are with him.
Wow, for the Freddy Krueger of their dream, I like that. I could see that. She's like, no.
She wakes up in cold sweats, and maybe that is how she got her cold sore. I don't know, but it's wild, man.
It is crazy, but then something happened today, 24 hours ago, that I really didn't think would happen. I did not see this one coming. Everybody knows Caitlyn Clark to one degree or another.
Yeah,
I did not see her bending the knee.
I didn't either. I hated that so much.
And why now?
I lost all respect for her, man. Like I was a Caitlyn Clark defender, man. Like I was like, this girl is literally changing the game for these women. She is making it so that these women can eat, and she's getting like nothing but, fumbled and hit and fouled and being mistreated in the media, having people say horrible shit about her, and she was quiet and she took it, and I was like, you know what, man, that is really commendable. The fact that she isn't lashing out. She's just, what she's doing? She's showing up on the court, right?
Right.
And she's doing her job on the court. But then when she did this interview, I was like,
you saw what she said.
I take it all back.
I don't know where, like, especially after the election, you'd think anybody who was thinking of bending the knee or bowing down would be like, nah, the election's over. Even someone who would be weak, you'd think they would get that breath of fresh air, that wind, that weight off their back. But instead, since Time put her on their cover and they chose her as athlete of the year, she says, I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. But she's saying white people have privilege.
It's the same tired old song, man.
But from her, it's like she focused and did her game. Like, where the hell did this? I mean, I almost feel like she's afraid of being hit. That's the only thing I can think of.
Either that or like, I don't know, like the maybe the WNBA, offered her more money if she says something like that. Because you have to understand, as good as she was doing and as well as and as much money as she brought into the league, by contrast, I mean, she was making a lot of the black players look bad, and
why isn't it just good players, bad players? Why? And
you know what, man? This kind of bullshit only happens in the WNBA, or let me just say women's shit. Shit. Because this doesn't happen in the NBA. This doesn't happen in the NFL. It's like, look, if you're the best player, you're the fucking best player, man. I've never seen Tom Brady apologize for being the best at what he does. I mean, it's so weak to me that she did this. Like it lessened her brand. You know what? It might even hurt her attendance now. Like people attending her games, man.
I think it's going to dip, especially as this gets more and more and more traction and people read about it.
She had all this great goodwill, and I think it's going to dip now because of this.
Yeah, it's sad. I did not see that coming. I thought she was going to continue playing the game, just stick it out there. Just keep it to the sports and that's it. But it was a terrible move. Terrible move.
You know what? The only thing that could save her is if she comes out and says she was horribly misquoted.
I hope so.
And like if she has to. If she doesn't, I think this is going to hurt her.
I agree. And before we do a couple of more, after we do this, we're going to do a couple of pieces on Trump. I wanted to bring this up that I found the other day. It's about Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm waiting for, I just sent the link to Man of War. So hopefully he's going to join us. But till he gets here, read this. It's interesting. Had to see it for myself. Again, it shows you that Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, they don't give a damn about the election. They're moving full steam ahead, right? And that's why Musk keeps talking about he wants to buy Hasbro. He wants to get the D&D rights out of it. And you're gonna go, how does Dungeons and Dragons impact our life? But it's about
there's that spoof video, right, where they actually show this stuff happening, where the guy goes to play D&D and then he's playing with all these woke people and they're doing that weird shit. And yeah, like when he says something triggering, they put like the X in front of their face. It's.
Could you believe that?
Look, man.
They want people to cuck themselves. They want people to cuck themselves.
My thing is this, right? When you're playing a game like D&D, you're free to play it however you want, right? I think if you want to make up a game where it's a very woke game for yourself and your friends who are also woke, fine. There's room at the table for everybody, right? This shouldn't be the standard though for D&D players. Like this kind of stuff should be the exception. It shouldn't be the new rule of D&D.
Right.
Of course not. I think they're screwing themselves. This isn't going to work. I've been hearing a lot of talk of people who play the game who are talking about just going back, playing the old game because they have the old books. They're not going to buy these new books. I don't understand it, man.
I'm going to read it to everybody just for a second because Man of War is like a D&D. That's his passion. I said we were going to do something new that we were going to be starting on the channel where your love, your passion, because everybody here at Slayer Nation is special. You're each a king and a queen, and you have something that you love more than anything, or you become an expert in. You have a passion for. And so when we touch on a subject, I want you to come in, explain something about it, share your thoughts on it. So this is Had to See It for Myself. It's true. The new edition of the Dungeons and Dragons Master Guide encourages players, just like Verbal said, to raise their arms in an X if they are triggered by any in-game content. So I guess if you see that elf popping out, coming out of the corner, you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm triggered. Save me, Jesus. Crazy.
It's funny, man. I feel like,
it wouldn't be Jesus. It would be save me, Chenk yogurt.
Maybe because we're children of the 80s, where, we didn't have a lot of safe spaces. Let's just say
we had no
we had there were no safeguards for us. We did crazy shit and somehow survived to be adults, right? And our parents gave zero fucks, and they let us go out there and get hurt. They let us go out there and get beat up. And you know what? We were stronger for it, man. I feel like as Generation X, we have failed this younger generation because they are
weak as shit.
They are paper thin, man. Like it's. I feel like if something bad were to really happen and shit were to really go down, they would be the first to go.
Yeah, you wouldn't depend on them. You wouldn't. You wouldn't be like, yes, we have a front line of warriors who can stand toe to toe and who are going to dig in and sweat.
Go.
No. And when you read it and you go through it, it gets worse. Since
we have raised a generation of pussies, man. Like this is
participation trophy generation. That's what you're talking about. People who have had an education, being taught by teachers who are told there is no such thing as losing because losing makes children feel bad. So everyone is a winner, no matter how much you suck.
These people are triggered by a D&D game.
A game that is a transference, an imagination theater, where you have people who are around a table who are typically friends or brought in by friends, and they're playing. How are you triggered by that? It's in your own mind. Someone's telling a story in the bardic tradition, and you get triggered.
Dude, I've seen fist fights break out during an Uno game. Okay? And I'm not even kidding. I've seen fist fights happen. So
yeah,
this is crazy.
It shows you how pathetic they are. Eric K for $5. He's talking about Caitlyn Clark. She bent the knee to the mob. I think she thinks it will make her not get abused so much. She will only be torn down more. She has great player privilege. I agree. I think she did it. I think she did it out of fear. Like maybe they will lay off. I'm not going to lose an eye, break another rib. It's going to be copacetic. Thank you for that. Then Mexican Iron Man, our intrepid producer, comes in. No one cares about women's sports, especially women.
That's very true.
Pretty much. Thank you for that, Mexican Iron Man.
No,
Member for 11 months.
Viewership of the WNBA went up because men started watching.
Yeah, because they started watching Caitlyn Clark and they were like, this is awesome. They love the way she's doing. Because why? Because you love when someone's winning and you love when they become the best. It doesn't matter what sport it's in. How many people started watching the Olympics gymnastics? I remember with the first, what was it, that 84 team when they were all winning golds. And be like, look at that Team USA or hockey or you name it.
But see, that always breaks that argument, man. Because if men love watching women's gymnastics. We just do during the Olympics. That's one of the number one sports in the Olympics. The most watched.
I agree. How bendy they are. You see all those. Yeah.
Well,
I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's beautiful.
Crazy.
No, but it's beautiful. You know what?
I agree. Like it's crazy what they can do. Like I'm like that is wild stuff, man.
It's the control of their bodies. I remember watching Nadia Comaneci. And the way, it's like a muscled butterfly. You got that. It's just beautiful. Pure art in motion.
So the argument is that before Caitlyn Clark, let's just be honest here, man. Women's basketball was just fucking boring. I've been to 3 Sparks games here in LA.
Okay.
Different years. I can't think of one where there weren't more than 30, 40 people in the crowd.
I was watching some of the Caitlyn games when she was on TV, and they were packed auditoriums.
Exactly. So that argument that men don't support women's sports is BS.
Now, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's because she's white." No, it's because she excelled at something to such a level that everybody wanted to watch it. Again, same thing with Nadia Comaneci, the same thing with the gym team, the same thing with the hockey team, same thing with
same thing with with Serena
Brady.
Williams.
So exactly.
People watch those matches, man. It's
because you're seeing history unfold. You're seeing a legend. They're beyond just players. It's something more than that. Thank you, Mexican Iron Man, Mr. Tickle Trunk, for $2 Canadian. This D&D inclusion is just exclusive to the 99%. Yeah, we're about to find out about that as Man of War joins us after we get this. Eric K for another $2. Mexican Iron Man is the professional YouTuber. See, Mexican Iron Man, we now know who you are. You've just been labeled as a professional YouTuber by the one and only King of the Mods. Now let's bring in Man of War. Man of War, how are you doing?
Hey, fellas. Sorry, it took me a second to get that squared away.
No problem. So did you read this about D&D? You can explain it to everybody. What the hell is going on with Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro?
That's their safety tools, but you would have to delve into the current mind virus BS that they're pushing to the general public, and I don't. So,
okay, because it says here it's helpful to have an agreed-on signal that players can use to communicate that a limit has been violated, allowing you to adjust quickly. That signal might be a gesture, such as crossing the arms in an X, or raising a palm in a stop gesture, a code word or phrase, touching or lifting a designated object, or anything else your group agrees on. Players should also feel safe to say stop and pause the game until the issue is resolved. The person who invokes the signals can comment on what they want adjusted, but doesn't have to explain why the content is objectionable.
Right. This is emotional theater, so folks can bring their own hang-ups into the game. I think this started safety cards, safety tools. I think Vampire the Masquerade might have started something like this a few years back. So they've just adopted the regular talking points that the other woke organizations are doing as well.
So you think this is basically, they're going to continue this? By the way, Verbal, Man of War, Verbal. This is Verbal. Man of War knows everything about Wizards of the Coast and And D&D. So you think this is a continuation? I thought pretty much after the election they might have pulled all of this. Did you think
No,
they're going to push forward?
No, they doubled down. The guy who was key in that forward to the history of Dungeons and Dragons doubled down after Musk's tweet saying that grognards, the euphemism for older players, he doesn't feel that he has to cater to them or listen to their opinions. The people who have built this game over 50 years.
So you're going to see this then. We should see them continuing to go this direction.
Oh, exactly. I don't see, it's funny to me how they want to push Wizards wants to push Dungeons and Dragons into a lifestyle brand, and they wanted it to be $1 billion generator. Magic the Gathering does that. D&D at the height of COVID, its biggest year, didn't generate more than 150 million total. Last year, they earned over 65% of that just on the license to Baldur's Gate 3. So this isn't a money-making prospect, but they keep forcing it to an audience that doesn't spend money.
Okay, so what do you think? Why do you think they're just doing this if they're not making money off it? So their own little plaything, like their own little social justice experiment?
Yeah, and you and I have talked ad nauseum in the past. I believe this is all carryover from ESG, DEI, false valuation, false investing, and it's just the crap that's clogging the pipe. It's got to get blown out.
Gotcha.
And hello, Verbal. He did say hi. So
hey, how's it going, man?
So Verbal, what do you think? You think maybe at the same time, because we said 2027 should be the last time we see this crap from Hollywood once they flush the pipeline. You think maybe this will have any ricochet effect on gaming, as in video games plus D&D? And
honestly, man, video games probably for sure, because video games are losing a shit ton of money right now, which is not good for the developers at all. But I don't know how it works with D&D, man, as far as like how much money they're actually going to lose versus, will they change because of it? That I don't know. That's a weird scope. All I can speak on is Hollywood and gaming, video games, but board games and stuff like this, I have no idea.
Okay, Man of War, do you know how much they actually are in a ballpark? I mean, is this a big part of Wizards of the Coast money or Hasbro?
No.
Okay.
No, as I said, 2022, 2023, Wizards of the Coast generated about 1.3 billion.
Okay.
1.25 of that is Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
D&D only pulls in 150 million. Why would you risk that small target audience? You don't have there's not a big scope to play with.
Right. I see. Okay. Well, I really appreciate you for sharing that. Hopefully we can have
that's weird, man.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Hopefully we can have you back if we ever touch on this again, Man of War.
You got it, brother.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. See you. Bye-bye. Now, it's just funny how everything is going into realignment, Verbal. It's like Hollywood is going to go into their realignment. And I was talking actually with Man of War a couple of days, 3 days, 4 days ago, and I was wondering why they can't just shelve a lot of these products. Instead of flushing the production pipeline with all the woke crap, can't they just shelve them or put them to streaming? Just save their brand.
Right.
Like Snow White, Captain America, Brave New World.
Well, because it depends on what kind of deals they made before this, right? I mean, the thing is, I know like Brave New World, even Snow White, you're talking merchandise deals that you've already made.
And those are tied to theatrical releases?
Yeah, I mean, especially like when you're talking about McDonald's and places like that, it's like if you have a movie coming out and you've already made that deal with McDonald's probably a year ahead of time, right? To put it out that month.
So I guess streaming won't fulfill that.
Probably not. It could, maybe, but
it's just because I'm remembering Black Widow.
Because also, you have to understand they've made deals with theaters as well.
Right.
right? So that's the biggest problem. They made a deal with the AMCs, right? With the Regal theaters. They made these deals already. So there's a lot to pulling a movie like that. You know, the reason why DC was able to do that with Batgirl was because I guess there were no deals made previous. So it was easy just to kind of throw that one under the rug and, you know, pretend it doesn't exist, right? But the problem with Disney is they do everything big right away, right? They'll announce something and then they start making all these plans and making all these deals right off of an idea, not even off of the script yet.
Right.
So they make all these plans and then they screw themselves when they have to fulfill it.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Well, somebody who had a couple of drop the mic moments a couple of days ago was Trump. He went to meet the press. Did you see that? Like an hour and it was genius. Forget Tyson versus Paul. Donald Trump versus Christine Welker. She had nothing. She was just
I loved it.
throwing swings in the air wildly. It's like it was almost like about. You can see Christine coming in and that's another whiff.
Tell you this because you've talked about it. It comes at a time when the country is deeply divided. And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years. For the sake of unifying this country, will you concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter?
No. No, why would I do that? But let me just tell you, when you say the country is deeply divided, I'm not the president. Joe Biden's the president.
But you're going to be the president.
No. I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. But Biden's the president. I'm not. And he has been a divider. And you know where he divided it more than anything else, and it probably backfired on him, I think definitely, is weaponization. When he weaponized the Justice Department and he went after his political opponent, me. He went after his political opponent violently because he knew he couldn't beat him. And I think it really was a bad thing. And it really divided our country.
Sir, Democrats have control of the White House now. They didn't in 2020. If they are going around stealing elections, why
when you
didn't
say
they do it
Democrats
this
have
time?
control now
Of the White House.
Yeah.
So why didn't they steal this election? Since they have more power now.
Because I think it was too big to rig.
So you won't.
Too big to rig.
To the people who say that.
I don't know what the hell to say. It's like, again, it's like that's old Tyson. It's like one right to the grill.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time this Meet the Press interview was over, I almost started to feel sorry for Christine Welker because she spent more time on her back than Kamala Harris ever did.
Oh, I have zero pity for that girl, man.
I said I started to because Trump just took it to her. Just boom, boom, boom.
Well, I mean, look, at this point, he's doing victory laps, man. I mean, he's showing like just how out of touch and dishonest these people have been for the past, let's be honest, man, like 18 years, probably.
Absolutely.
18, 20 years. They have nothing. They're running, dude. They know no one buys them anymore, that their credibility is shot.
And she tried to pull it. I mean, she tried to pull the same thing.
Oh yeah. And that's the problem. It's like, you know, it's kind of like when you play against an opponent for so long, you already know what they're going to do before they do it.
Absolutely.
Right. I think Trump at this point knows what they're going to try to pull before they even pull it, man.
Because
and he's already got them, you know?
Yeah, he is predictable. He is predictable. They are predictable.
Yeah.
And he can see that coming, but you'd think they would change up their game. It's like, again, going into the ring, you're going up against the same opponent, but you keep throwing the same shots that keep getting you knocked on your ass.
Well, and the funny thing is they keep acting like they don't know why they lost, man. And I'm not even talking about Democrats. I mean, the media. The media doesn't understand why they've lost. Because trust me, they lost just as much as Kamala did.
Oh, I think even bigger than Kamala did, because they're the ones who were pushing the message for all these years. They were propping up the message, the one that was anti-Trump. And remember, it's never against Trump. They don't hate Trump. They hate you.
Yeah.
The people, me, Verbal, they hate everybody. If you're not on their list, you know, you don't go their way, you're not on their side. Exactly. And I don't mean you go, I empathize with you. I agree with 5 out of 10 points. They go 10, you have to agree 10 out of 10. We've seen time and time again, whether it's in Hollywood or DC, that when a person disagrees with one thing, look at J.K. Rowling, as left as you can get. She has one disagreement with them, one, and they want to burn her at the stake.
Yeah, you can't go you can't go off script.
No way.
You're now directing your Justice Department to investigate 2020,
no,
and they want to move
I
on.
have very capable.
Is
I
that
think
a
Pam
good
is going to
use
be
of
great.
precious resources?
By the way,
Is that what you
just
want
so
them to do?
Just so you know, I have the right to do that, but I'm not interested in that.
Oh, you're not. You're not going to do that.
I'm not interested. I have
Okay.
the absolute right. I'm the chief law enforcement officer. You do know that. I'm the president. But I'm not interested in that. You know what I'm interested in? Drilling and getting prices down and stopping people from pouring into our border that come from prisons and mental institutions.
Beautiful. I mean, he knows exactly what he wants to do. This other one that he handled with her, where did it go? I thought it was another mic drop moment, because he says it straight. I love Trump that he just is direct. Here it is. And when they go after him, he goes right for the throat with the truth. You can't beat the truth. You can try to hide it. You can try to get around it. You can try to smother it with lies, but at the end of the day, it's always going to win. Hey, everybody in the chat, come on. Get Slayer, or fight. Pick one of them, put it in the chat.
And after getting all of the testimony, they deleted it. And they destroyed almost everything. There's nothing left. It's unprecedented.
And they deny
If you
doing
do that in a civil case, you go to jail.
You know they deny doing that, and officials say that the order never came in for
They
the
put
National
out
Guard.
a
But
statement.
on January 6th, let me ask you this about January 6th. I think
Benny
you really want to
Thompson
answer
wrote
this.
in a statement that he has destroyed all evidence.
Let me ask you this about
It's
January
amazing.
6th.
I wish you could be you have
I
such
love this.
potential. If you could be just non-biased, you hurt yourself so badly. I'm telling you, they deleted and destroyed all the evidence. Everyone knows it. And you slough it off like it doesn't mean anything.
No, I'm
If
just
I
saying
did
they
it-
deny it. That's all I'm saying.
Kristen, if I did it, you would be standing up in that chair shouting at me. And you know what I'd do? I'd say, you got me. They have done something so illegal. They have a committee sworn to, and because it was so bad, the only reason they did it is because the testimony turned out to be in favor of me. Like Secret Service testified and disputed everything. It made them into a bunch of liars. Not Secret Service, it made the people. They got rid of it because it made Nancy Pelosi, the mayor of DC, so many people look like criminals. And I will tell you, it's illegal for them to delete and to destroy that evidence.
I mean, he put her beautifully in her place. Talk about daddy's back and dropping the hammer. You know, California announced today that they're going to be, where you're living in Verbal, a super sanctuary state. Not just a sanctuary state, they're going to be a super sanctuary state.
What does that even mean? At this point.
At this point, it says the San Diego County Board of Supervisors has voted to prohibit the use of its resources and funding to support federal immigration agents in carrying out deportations. So they're going to try to stop it. But we already have Tom Holman who's like, you're going to regret that because we're going to get you one way or the other. We're going to get the people. And then he's even talked about and hinted at they're going to arrest people who get in their way because they're like, that's federal law. Like, we're not joking around. So Trump responded to their response about, all the different blue states that want to be super sanctuary states. He's like, okay, I'll double down. Trump plans to scrap all policies restricting ICE arrests at churches, schools, and hospitals because they were out of bounds before.
Right.
And so he's like, nope, there will be no out of bounds now. Nowhere. If you're a criminal, if you're here illegally, we're going to get you. It's not going to be just at jail. It could happen at home. It could happen at church. It could happen at school.
Good.
It could happen anywhere. And I'm like, yeah, it's about time. People are tired of it. People are just had enough and they want this stuff to end. But what you notice is Trump announced that he's not going to take his salary again. And I thought that was great. but I found this clip because, you know, so many politicians, I don't consider Trump to be a politician. I just don't. I consider him to be somebody who loves his country and he wants to change things.
Right.
But people, a lot of people like to say, you know, how they grow, how they change, especially when they enter politics. We've seen how many people who flip-flop. You know, 10 years ago they said this, and then 8 years ago they said this, and then today they say something else. So I went and I found a video of videos of Trump, right? To see, has he changed in any way over the past 10 years, 20 years? No, not for a second. Not for a second.
And I said, somebody said, well, what would you do? What can you do? So easy. I drop a 25% tax on China. And you know, I said to somebody that is really the messenger. The messenger is important. I could have one man say, we're going to tax you 25%. And I could say another, listen, you motherfuckers, we're going to tax you 25%. And
I just love the way he's straight. They hate that fact. I think that's one of the things the media cannot stand. It's what you brought up. Would you say LA intelligentsia, like LA intelligent, where they don't like the use of certain language? It's like when you hear Megyn Kelly sometimes, she comes out and she'll say like, Rachel Ziggler is a pig. And you'll go on Twitter, X, Instagram, and you'll see people playing her tape. And they go, how rude is she? What kind of a horrible human being she is? They don't care about the fact of what she's reporting on, or she'll talk about Trump. Look at his enemies. They're pigs. They're this. F them.
No, it's because
what do you think that is? That people would rather have someone lie to them but use the proper language than tell them the truth with just being based, with just getting it out there.
Because they're fake and disingenuous. That's why, man.
Gotcha.
That they would rather be lied to softly, right, than have the hard truth, you know, yelled at them, basically.
Right.
Like you have to understand, man. This goes deeper than you think, man. And like at this point, doctors are being told that they can't tell that their patients that they're obese. They can't use the word obese.
Yeah, no.
Right? That you have, you know, guys, you know, who think they're women who demand to be seen by gynecologists.
Yeah.
And being told that the gynecologists have to see them. Right? So female gynecologists have to amuse, you know, these dudes. You know, they have to inspect their balls because, you know, that's what a gynecologist is supposed to do. They live in a fantasy world. And they expect us to live in that same fantasy.
And because we refuse to live in that fantasy world, you think that, I guess it must shame them because they know that we're sticking to reality, to the truth, and they've bent the knee.
We won't play along, and they hate that.
Yeah, because it's a mirror to them. It's a mirror to them. Well, Trump the other day had told, you know, he made those jokes after he had Trudeau over at Mar-a-Lago, and everybody's like how Trudeau bent the knee, which he did. He did. And then a couple days later, on Truth Social, Trump had shared something to the effect of, you know, Canada and Mexico can be like part of the United States. Like, you'll just be another state. Well, somebody over in Canada didn't take that too kindly. I'm like, you understand the man is joking, half-heartedly, but he was joking. And the leader of the Green Party there,
Trump on his Truth Social
wasn't happy.
This morning greeted the Prime Minister as the governor of the 51st state, something along that line. Have you seen that? Do you have any thoughts about that? About the dynamics of the relationship?
I haven't seen that, but so I probably should comment. Just that with the Truth Social post of Donald Trump planting a Canadian flag on a Canadian mountain, I have to say that to the extent that this 51st state thing was a joke, it's not funny. And I find that pursuing it on social media makes me increasingly nervous. Mr. Trump has, we have to be very, very careful with the president-elect, and we have to pull together, I think, all opposition party leaders and premiers, all elements of the Canadian political establishment, such as we are, better pull together to make sure we don't create any cracks that allow Fox News or Mr. Trump's social media to exploit us and say things about Canada that aren't true.
Is she wearing a lifesaver? That looks like a lifesaver. Kid you know, is that a lifesaver on her?
I can't even tell. It might be.
That's weird. That's weird. They don't get the fact that he's joking, though. She took it seriously. That's what I found odd.
Well, Canadians are weird.
Well, we have a lot of Canadians on from Slayer Nation. I got a lot of Canadian friends, but
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Obviously, look, in
the government,
Canadians are no more. Canadians no more weird than we are. So, if we're being honest,
I think the Canadians in the government are weird. They're about the same as ours. But they're
because those are Trudeau. It's like I said, man. Gavin Newsom is just the Trudeau of California.
Good point. Yeah, maybe it's not a lifesaver. Maybe that's a bronze of the ring she kissed.
It might be. It's weird to me that this is the thing that they're willing to die on the hill for.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's weird that this is their line in the sand. This kind of stuff, right? Like this whole sanctuary city. You know what's funny about that though? And I'll probably get shit for saying this. When they say they're a super sanctuary city, or that they want super sanctuary cities, or that California is going to be a super sanctuary state, they're not talking about illegals. They're not. They're talking about people who want to transition, like young people who want to come here and basically be protected by the government from having to go back to their parents. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about that. They're not really even talking about illegal, because we've always had illegal immigrants here in California, and for the most part, there was an unspoken rule. Shouldn't have been, but there was an unspoken rule that, hey, as long as you guys don't fuck up and you're willing to take jobs that most people don't want to take anyway, then who cares, right?
Who cares? Okay.
Most of them live in East LA and other places like that, so they kind of out of sight, out of mind. They're not talking about that. They're talking about trans people. That's what they're talking about.
Okay.
Here's the thing. When it comes to California, it will always come back to that issue.
And they're willing to go down with a ship on that one.
Oh, they're willing to die on the spot for it, man. People don't understand how crazy California is when it comes to this stuff.
Well,
people talk about New York and all these. No, nothing. There's no crazier place than California when it comes to those kind of issues.
Okay. Well, I'll be out there soon. We can talk about it. Thank you, Verbal, for coming. I think we had a great show. We covered a lot of cool stuff. And we're going to be back this Sunday. And next Wednesday, we're supposed to have a surprise guest this Sunday. So look out in the YouTube community section and on my Twitter profile to see who it's going to be in the next 24 hours. I'm just waiting for final confirmation. So what are you coming up with next? Let everybody know. Verbal.
Yeah. So I have a few videos that are in production right now. One being about Lily Phillips, the girl who basically banged 100 guys in a day. I wasn't sure I was going to do that video, but at this point, I feel like there's too much story there to not do it. So that'll probably be my next video coming up. I'll probably have it up for sure by tomorrow or Friday morning. So.
Okay, cool. And then I guess I will see you on Sunday. Yeah. Did we get you almost there to 5K?
Almost there, man. I think I'm 130 away, something like that. Trying to get there though.
Come on, we have 240 people here. If you haven't subscribed yet to Verbal Riot, go subscribe. Great guy,
guys. I totally appreciate it. You won't be sorry. I've been told I could be a little entertaining sometimes. So
it's always great to have you here. All right, we're gonna hear a little bit of a beautiful music, and then we'll get out of here. You know my favorite. I love hearing it.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight on the ramparts we watch was so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag
Always great. All right. Everybody, chat, you're amazing. Supporters, you're amazing. Oh, Eric K just sent something in real quick. Eric K for another $2. The King of the Mod says 100 in a day. Rookie numbers for Jeremy. All right. All right. Well, we got to get him there. Go tell Jeremy to send him, Eric, to send him another, send him 1,000. Tell 1,000 people, go sign up to Verbal Riot. He deserves it. All of you are beautiful. War Monkey, Gambit. We got Josh Hammond. It rolled by Josh Hammond, Jose Ataco. All of you beautiful people. Love you. You remember what to do. Go eat your Winnamins and to win every battle and stay true to yourself. What do we have to remember? That we never bow down and we never bend the knee. Bless you.